Futures back to the upside here so far this morning, trying to hold on to gains right now. In fact, getting above the resistance points that we saw yesterday as we head towards the next Fed meeting coming up early next week. We'll get a look at what the Fed is thinking going into the remainder of the year. And hey, do we have maybe a new Fed chair as of yesterday afternoon? It's quickly becoming the worst kept secret in Washington, I think, at this point, that Kevin Hassett looks like going to be the next Fed chair. We'll talk about that coming up. Lots of individual movers here, including this one. Tesla back to the highs right now, 432. I was just reading through China numbers for Tesla, a little bit better than expected on a month-over-month basis. 10%, sorry, year-over-year for November. 10% increase on Shanghai deliveries for Tesla. So holding on to a nice gain to start things off this morning. We did get a few earnings reports coming through this morning. Canadian banks starting to report earnings, looking better than expected for Bank of Nova Scotia here this morning, which is good to see as far as our economy is concerned. We also have a couple of analyst moves coming through here. This is what's happening when we're coming on at 8 o'clock. There's all kinds of stuff just coming out right now. So I'll sift through a couple of these. But Unity, I see in front of me here. Unity getting a nice positive note.
That's a good look there, Brenda. I want to mention the banks as well, putting less in loan loss provision. So not too many defaults on this side of the border. That's a good thing, obviously. So that money can be transferred from the liability side of the balance sheet on to the other side. So we'll keep an eye on that. Lots to talk about. Good morning, guys. Today, Costco looking to sue the Trump administration ahead of the Supreme Court decision on tariffs early next year. So we'll have to see how that all pans out. And MongoDB, geez Louise, Brendo, 23 and change percent up in the pre-market and a great earnings report. And Apple looking at roll heads. It's not just good enough that the stock is at all-time highs. They want to get that AI, Apple Intelligence, of course, done right. So they're looking to hire an individual from Microsoft who didn't spend that much time there, Brendo. He just came from Google. Yeah. So I don't really know how I feel about this whole thing.
Yeah, quietly making some changes. Here's that Unity up, or was up, right back down right now, 43.50, and very, very thin trading, to say the least, here this morning in the early pre-market for Unity. Netflix with more headlines surrounding Warner Brothers. Will they or will they not come through with a bid? It looks like a cash bid at this point from Netflix for WBD as well. So Netflix, huge day yesterday. A lot of things with a huge day yesterday. Netflix, one of them, holding not only the entire day's move from yesterday, guys, but back above the high. Individually, it looks like we're to be so far this morning, although the market, not too bad so far. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. MongoDB. Oh, boy, did they ever be. And a big-time beat for Mongo, up 23% today. Well, the market's up right now. Dan Ives likes Palantir. He said some good things. It's at some good levels. Beyond Meat was a squeeze yesterday. That's going to be in play. Bitcoin's not down this morning. What? Bitcoin's allowed to be up. 87K we're chilling at right now, so above that 85. Resistance at 88, but we'll see if it can manage to punch through. NVDA is going to be at a conference presenting. That was a strong mover, holding up yesterday's markets in a big way. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to look at. We get some earnings after the bell, like a lot of earnings after the bell. CrowdStrike, American Eagle, and Marvell, who might be making a deal of their own, actually. Looking to acquire a private company.
Get more into the AI space over there. Excuse me. VCIG. I'm in this one. They just had a 200. I was trying to find my Benzinga is not working right now, but I was trying to find it. They had a $200 million award there to get going on a stable coin. So VCIG, we just got some long there at 119. Just played a dip back in. Looked like it was trying to hold. Bought some. I was sitting there at 29. It's funny we didn't get filled up there, but now we're at 28. So hopefully we can get a little bit out right here as we continue to climb higher. But sorry, frog in my throat there. Yeah, look, it should be a good day. I mean, it was really nice. I didn't even notice Netflix yesterday, but NVIDIA breaking through. Okay, I was going to say, okay, there we go. NVIDIA yesterday breaking through 180 is great. Great to see them trying. There we go. We get that. We got VCIG there at 28s. Now we got some size on the bid, which is nice. So let's see if that can continue higher. But NVIDIA was, there it is. NVIDIA was a good one yesterday as well, as it just kept on sort of motoring there into the close and tried to break through that 180. Finally does do it there right at the close, if not into the after hours. And now we are nicely cooking above, and let's see where we can go from here. There's NVIDIA. Nice little trend here yesterday. Found some bases and didn't break back through VWAP. So I think that's good. There's a little bit of news on NVIDIA. It will be, there's an AI conference that's happening here today. There goes VCIG again. So the big, I mean, I'm going to take Sharif's flame here, but there goes VCIG as a small cap, just absolute ripping right now. We might already have, for me, already the trade of the day is already in here and it's 8 o'clock, but there it goes, man, 118. Look, man, I'm trading small caps, big cap, large caps, all the caps, and no cap as well. 118 up there to 135. Here we go, man. Yesterday, I only traded 3 names. It was AMD, Tesla, I think, and something else, decently sized name, another mega cap name. Today we go small size fishing here with VCIG. So far, so good right there. We're only out of 30% of it, but that was a good fill at 35. I kind of put it up there just hoping something would happen. And I guess this name is reverse split here in the past, 50 cents up to $11 all the way back in, and has done it multiple times. So let's see today with a little bit of news there on the 200 million to develop. I think it's like some sort of a stable coin. So there we go. Nice move upside.
My thing's not working
there.
either, but I was looking.
Yeah, it's the news source that we have here isn't working, but it is a $200 million deal to develop some sort of a gold kind of stable coin. Anyways,
yeah,
that's it.
Well, I just went to X to find it because they said other things not working. Word, yeah, it's a RWA consultancy mandate for Bridge Gold stablecoin. Although some are saying that news is old. So that might not actually be, it's possible. Again, I'm just going off Twitter because we don't have our normal source, but potentially could be at least.
That is the story that rallied it. I mean,
yeah, I see that. That's what I see the story there as well. There's a couple of things. Oh, never. I was just checking out a couple of symbols that were halted for some reason here, because there's another small capper halted. I believe it's not capped, but there was another penny stock that was halted, CONY, and then CAP as CAPT is also going to be halted. News pending. They might be making an acquisition in their penny stock, CAPT. So that's going to be in play potentially. As we already said, the morning, getting started earlier in the morning allows you not just to look at small cappers, but to digest a little bit more as we head in, right? So what's actually moving, what's in volume, allows us to see, hey, what's halted, news pending. Still nothing yet on that Netflix potential deal with Warner Brothers, but I suspect everyone has their bids in. So any day now, I feel like we're going to get a deal for Warner Brothers. And as I was mentioning before, Bitcoin manages to not be down today. I know it got wrecked recently, and I think it might be in the title, but not so much this morning, because pretty solid bounce to get us back to 87. I still think we have overhead resistance here, but we got to be patient with it.
Shopify moving back to the upside here this morning as well. A pretty tough day for them yesterday during Cyber Monday with a outage. Not great timing during the potential, anyways, busiest day of the year for Shopify. Back higher this morning, though. I mean, it looked like it got resolved by kind of mid-afternoon. Yep. They put out a bit of a release saying, here's what happened. Looks like it's been taken care of at this point, but timing's not going to be great for them.
No, this is not the time you want to go down, Brenda. What makes sense, obviously, there was a lot of demand. We've seen this with Netflix before when they have these big sporting events. There's a lot of load on the servers, and typically, we see things like this. So what happened was Down Detector showed a spike of around 4,000 reported problems at the outage peak. That was around 11 a.m., with reports spanning POS failures, admin lockouts, delayed order processing. So it was really from every angle. Shopify powers more than 10%, guys, of all U.S. e-commerce, giving, obviously the downtime and outsized implications. The outage struck during a massive online shopping surge, as we know, of course, with Adobe estimating, Brendo, that $14.2 billion in Cyber Monday spend, which is a nice bump year over year, 6.3%. We've been talking about the consumer being squeezed, credit card delinquencies going up, Brendo, missed car payments going up. So it's nice to see that the actual, numbers reflect the demand.
Yeah, and that there's, still demand. And I think I mentioned this yesterday or alluded to it, the efficiency of being able to do this in a way that, it's you click, and then few hours later, it's at your door kind of thing. It's unbelievable.
And they were saying, Brendo, a record number of mobile orders came in for Cyber Monday, which makes sense. I mean, people are using computers a little bit less and on their phones a little bit more.
So you can actually do the tap, not the click, on your couch.
There you go.
You don't even have to walk over to a laptop or
Full lazy.
to buy anything. But yeah, I mean, not a lot of volume here, guys. So far, Shopify back above 150 and holding pretty solid so far.
Yeah, the thing with Shop is they're still so expensive. Like 82 on the PE, and then, sorry, the forward PE, and their PE is over $100. So yeah, it's really, really pricey. And I think it's starting to matter a little bit more. Maybe the last couple of days you've had, like, last couple of weeks, I should say, you've had a nice little bounce. So I think that, look, the numbers certainly pretty solid. You can't beat the convenience, proud Canadian company and all that. But I think this one could have some trouble with this obvious already resistance at the 50 and the 160 level. I think that, again, it's just that valuation rich, and in this environment, didn't exactly knock it out of the park. Maybe there's a recovery day, but so light volume. I think this is one where you let it try to settle down. Like almost treat like this whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday, treat it as almost like an earnings, and allow the market to kind of digest the results in here, because on very light volume, bouncing a couple bucks, you're still well within yesterday's range. And this was something that didn't at any point really have a bounce. Like the market opened up and this thing just continued to drop. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you so much, Randy. Right now, by the way, money. We keep saying this is exactly why we're coming in this early. So there it is, man. Step up to the plate, you take a swing, and today it is that home run. So there it goes, man. VCIG just clocking right now. So that, so far, Neil, is a good idea. And we'll take some more out at 55 there. We'll see if we can get some out at near the 60 area. I'm offering 59s, and there it goes, man. VCIG right there, just like, putting up right here 40 cents on a $1.20 name. So far, so good here. VCIG still going a little bit higher. We're waiting for 59s there to get out. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, bro.
For all of that. But yeah, no, I like, there it goes. Yes, sir. 65, slow down now. I posted it all up on Twitter as well, so you guys can go have a look. And I put it up right even before, just like minutes before I got in. So my actually first post on VCIG was right here. So you go follow me at TraderTV Sean if you're interested. This was at 8:01, so now it's 11 minutes later. And see, we just got out there at 20, so we long at 19, just out at 23s. And then boom goes the dynamite. Now 63s there on VCIG as we just continue to, wow, watch that name go higher. Yeah, look, I mean, 25% increase in Black Friday sales, nice move, but unfortunately they wanted 28%. So yeah, down detector yesterday, obviously not helping with, some of their sites getting into the downside, but Shopify I think is still fine at these levels. I mean, as Brendan and Sharif had, identified there, everything I'm buying is just on my phone and all that kind of stuff. So I think Shopify plays well in that space, and yeah, all good for Shopify. PayPal is maybe a little bit more interesting to me. Down here, there's a lot of buy now, pay later apparently happening throughout Black Friday. So that could be something with PayPal. I know they have something as well. I just got an email like split your payments into 4 or something like that. So PayPal doing that. And then another name here could be Klarna. That would be a nice name to look at here. We're out of 75% so far VCIG. So I don't know if you guys are holding for too much more than this. But there's Klarna, again, another buy now, pay later. And then AFRM. So I think you can get involved in this Shopify Black Friday in a lot of different ways here. And, I just gave you 4 names. And for me, I would think Shopify's been performing, one of the best out of all of these names. And if you do like a buy now, pay later, maybe Affirm would be the spot to go to. But, a relatively new issue here on Klarna, just getting its footing as well and really beat up since its IPO. So a couple different opportunities to look for there. And then I don't know exactly where Block fits in all of this, but it's fitting somewhere. And that yesterday, okay, that's not a great move. I don't know if that was because Shopify was back up and running or what, but near the end of the day yesterday, XYZ gets hit pretty good there. We just got some more out there at 45 on the way back in, breaking through 50 again. 2 outs up top on VCIG, but watch out now for this name as it's starting to pull back in just a little bit, as many of these names do, man. Yeah, that MDB, Sharif started the show sort of with that one. That is an absolute monster there. MongoDB yesterday with a big performance right out of the gate on their earnings, right? It says bang, up to $400. This name is really working, similar to like a Snowflake, which I believe reports later on this week as well. 132 versus 68 cents. So what a doubling, like absolute beast there on MongoDB, and I'm expecting Snowflake.
Revenue was a huge beat too.
Yeah, I'm expecting Snowflake to be up a little bit on that as well. So yeah, up 4% for Snowflake, and then of course big data, a little different though. Palantir up 1%, made the sticky note here. So yeah, man. So far, so good. Pretty interesting day to start. Yeah, great to have this VCIG.
Too.
Yeah, I'm excited to trade today. I'm trading long today.
25.5 on the. We'll get to the futures, but obviously at some point. But you're pretty much at like just look at yesterday's tops and then go all the way back in the last week. Like 25.5 was a big level up and down. So you break that, you have 200-300 points to be able to get more to the upside in here. So yeah, there's a lot to watch, and as long as we're holding on to that to the north side, I mean, it's an overall up day. Like even Tesla's going to be in play today. It's back at that 433 level. Again, tons to watch, and I know Lion Trade and a few others. Thank you for throwing in the dollar sign in there for things like BMW or Beyond Meat. But remember, always type that dollar sign in front on the ticker. I saw MU without it. Boeing CFO, recovery is in full force. CFO says November a little light on deliveries. Hey, the big story for Boeing is that maybe there's some cracks in the armor of our bad boy Airbus, which is their big time competitor. But this stock has been struggling. It feels as if all the bad news has come in for Boeing, and they're going to tell you things are going to be light. Well, it's been light for a minute. Your backlog is big, a couple of years longer than Airbus here. But I think, look, this is a stock that I believe it's almost like the government can't let them fail. You have two companies that essentially rule the entire market, and there's almost no chance that they're going anywhere. So it's almost a long-term bet that they do get this turnaround, that most of the bad news is timed in. It feels like a buy the dip kind of stock. And I've been waiting for 160 on this, and I don't know how much longer I want to wait for it to get any further to the downside. Brendo?
Looks like some comments still being made here, guys, with the CFO from Boeing. This is a guidance increase, it looks like. So the initial move was down, but we're actually heading back higher here for Boeing shares currently. So now they're guiding to 440 to 450 total jet deliveries in 2025, about 50 only from current inventory, and higher than that for 2026 deliveries for both 737 and 787 versus 2025. And they talk about stabilizing production specifically for the 737. I mean, it's well known all of the issues that we've had with 737 MAX specifically. Oh, yeah. On the safety side of things. But yeah, it looks like a slight, anyways, uptick here for the guidance going into next year for production.
Yeah, not a bad look at all, Brendo. We'll see if they're able to deliver a lot of these. Their demand has never really been an issue. Everybody wants to get their hands on these airplanes, but hard to make. They also won this is kind of chump change here for Boeing, $104 million U.S. Navy contract to secure about a little bit less than $100 million aircraft carrier support award. Obviously, the support business and the maintenance business, a high margin business for Boeing as opposed to the airplanes, which is a little bit less margin. It's a good look for Boeing here to start.
Yeah, there's the other headline there, DOJ penalty to flip into 2026. The company now saying $2 billion free cash outflows for 2025 as well. So that would also help with that move back higher here, guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we just already talked a little bit about it. I always thought that Boeing was, I'm long into Boeing there. I bought some at $200. So we'll see if this can help it sort of move back up to the upside right there. Yeah, nicely clocked down into 180 for Boeing, but this seems to be better news there. And as, you know, we heard that similar story a couple weeks ago where they were, you know, allowed to increase some of the production of some of their planes again right there. This is a really tough business. We saw Airbus get into a little bit of problems with some quality control as well. So as soon as you get going on this name, I think it will continue. I mean, it's a well, traded American company, and we just heard about a new investment from the U.S. government into something that Pat Gelsinger and Intel is all about. And I could just see Boeing, especially with this current administration, they're not going to let Boeing fail or anything like that. So, you know, the move down makes a little bit of sense there, as we are concerned about travel. We're concerned about the fact that, sure, we got those orders from the UAE and all that, but like, where's China? Where's all this happening? And it looks like right now on the CFO here, we are getting a nice little bump up to 191 for Boeing, continuously making a move higher there. And it just, I think we might have just got rid of a lot of that sort of downside momentum there. And hopefully now, with a little bit of positivity in the name and in the space, we can you know, see if this support at 180 to 185 that goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. Boeing just slightly up, I guess, now on the year. I don't think this will be a name that's involved in Joe's options.
Probably not.
But I think we're doing upgrades and downgrades. Oh, no, are we doing options right now? We'll go over to Joe. He's always got something going on. I believe it's his call of the day.
Ooh, not quite yet, but there is some call activity, Sean, that we are going to be looking at here. A lot of interesting activity, especially on the call of the day. So looking forward to talking about that a little bit. Guys, good morning, by the way, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday. Let's get right into it, all right? So BYND, seeing a little bit of a pop in yesterday's session. So what does that lead us to? Yes, let's take a look at some of the options activity. Now, as for the volume, guys, a whopping 168,000 contracts traded on the day, with open interest still sitting around 30,000 at that $1.50 strike price that is going to be expiring this week. Keep an eye out on those levels, guys. Now, as for silver, also going on a run as well, too, guys. We want to keep an eye on that $55 strike price. And once again, it leads us towards that expiration cycle of December 19th, with 15,600 contracts traded on that expiration and open interest still sitting around 24,900. Now, as for Walmart continuing to climb higher, guys, strike price 115, you guessed it, it's going to be that December 19th expiration cycle. We're sitting around 29,900 contracts still currently open, with volume around 2,990, guys. Now, as for the call of the day, I found this extremely interesting. And no, it's not a typo. This is KWeb. This is the China Internet ETF here. So what we're looking at is it's actually 52 contracts traded, which I found completely odd considering there's 72,000 contracts still currently open. Very interesting stuff. And the spread was relatively wide, $5, guys, but that's going to be expiring this week. And then as for the delta and the gamma exposure, slightly odd as well, too. So we're sitting at 0.085. So essentially what we have priced in here is that there's a 0 chance that it's going to trade up to this level, which I found extremely interesting. And then gamma as well, too, activity relatively light. And then the at-the-money IV sitting around 29.6%, guys.
Yeah, KWeb, not one.
KWeb, huh?
Can't say that that's the one that was expected, but hey, technically, hey, that's bounced off that 200. So a little bit of a look. I prefer Alibaba. I always want to go with if you have a preference. I like going with the single stock that you like in the group. It's like when you don't have a preference, that's fine to go over to KWeb, but you know, Alibaba, at least in particular, if you look at their cloud growth compared to peers, it's like maybe Google's doing a little better, but then outpacing Amazon, doing really well, and a little bit stronger than that index when you look back, and then the potential of breaking out. So this hasn't actually happened yet, but you know, you monitor these things for when it does, very close to breaking trend here. Give it any day, this could literally break trend and maybe resume move to the upside there for Alibaba. Prefer that to KWeb, but the story right now, Boeing continuing to go higher, now 193. Oh, can this finally regain the 200 at 200 as more comments from the CEO continuing to drive this stock higher? And for all those in the chat, Tilray is halted and Tilray is reverse splitting. It is a 1 to 10. So Tilray will be in $7 or $8 stock depending on how it opens up today for all those. I know a few people were like, oh, why is it not trading? What's going on with this? It was 78 cents yesterday, so presumably if it opens flat, it'll be like $7.80 for Tilray. Never a good thing when you have to reverse split, obviously.
Yeah, I like that Tilray play there. I mean, MSOS, if you are looking for something that's going to have some consistent volume in the marijuana space. I mean, a nice little bump up over the last little while, but these things just can't get out of their own way. I mean, every time there's kind of like a move up, it just gets cracked right back down in. So we just wait for legalization or, the reclassification of cannabis in the United States. And I thought we heard yesterday was MindMed, MNMD. There was some stories there in the psychedelic space yesterday. So this could be where the sort of the next momentum is, rather than in a pure kind of cannabis play like Tilray is. MNMD and some of the psychedelics. This looks like we've actually broken out. So like broken out of this $10 range, and looks like it wants to go a little bit higher. So I like MindMed here, trying to get going again. That would have been have some water over here. Best team in the NFL right here. But yeah, I was just thinking 1050. That was a great dip buy opportunity in there for MindMed. So we'll see if it can get back into that space. And then I think it's a buy. We did get some VCIGs out at 30. Once it broke back down below, we got another out there at 45. Just waiting here at 35. Actually, I'm at 37 now to see if we get a bump up. We have about 20% left of this position, and really got going there up into the 60s. It was crazy. I might just stop out on a break-even trade, breaking through the 50-period moving average. So let's set that up right now on VCIG. So let's go $1.18 as our stop order on VCIG, and that way, our last 20% won't put us anywhere in trouble, because even if this thing does crack that back down below, we can't go red on it, but I don't want this thing, I don't want to miss a stop, and the next thing you know, this is at $1 and we give up 20 cents. So VCIG, so far, so good, but it looks like it is coming back in right now. So out of 80%, holding that last 20 just in case it gets going once the market opens, but we're still an hour away. So watch out for liquidity drying up here on VCIG.
Look at the calendar here ahead of 8:30. Nothing to worry about as far as data this morning coming up at 8:30. Fed's Bowman apparently speaking today, but I read yesterday that the Fed is in their quiet periods or blackout period. So we'll see if Fed's Bowman gets to skip that and speak at 10 o'clock this morning. Just be prepared for that. A lot of people or a lot of comments this morning pointing towards what is coming on Friday. Remember, we do get PCE data coming up on Friday. Mind you, it is delayed. So it's a September reading of PCE that we'll get at 10 o'clock on Friday, along with Michigan consumer sentiment, which does have a more current prediction anyways, as far as, or forecast for inflation in it. So Friday, the heaviest day as far as economic data is concerned ahead of next week's Fed decision. So keep that in mind this week. Just reading as well, Kalshi raising $1 billion at a $11 billion funding round, according to the New York Times. Apparently also moving towards a partnership with CNN.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised there, Brendo. They're really starting to eat the lunch of some of these gaming companies. DraftKings, FanDuel obviously not listed publicly. DraftKings is. Look, I spoke to you guys about this yesterday. DraftKings, FanDuel, they've had to actually give up some of their licenses in Vegas in order to get into these sort of contracts that are peer-to-peer, not peer-to-house. So we'll have to see how that works out. But the DraftKings chart, Brendo, does not look good. It looks like it found a bit of a bottom there, but still struggling with that. Happy to see these sort of market-determined contracts rather than the odds being determined in-house.
Does it make any difference whether or not they're going to partner up with a major broadcast network at this point?
Brendo, I was reading some of the posts of a CNN news broadcaster yesterday on X, and they have no neutrality anymore.
No,
it's
no,
just,
of course. And it goes both ways.
Yeah,
let's be
it does.
honest. I mean, we're not going to be one side or the other here, but it goes both ways, whether it's the CNN or Fox or whoever you want
I just meant in general, reporting in general, they've removed the neutrality out of it.
So if you get a major tie-up between a betting market like that with a very polarized media outlet, what does that result in? But anyway, we shall see. We touched on it earlier, but a number of notable earnings coming up after the close tonight. Marvell Technologies, probably the headliner. CrowdStrike as well. GitLab also reporting tonight. American Eagle, OKTA, Asana, tonight as well, and Box. So decent earnings day coming up after the close. Here's Cloudflare. Net, there was just a positive note out on Cloudflare. This one had a big move going back to beginning of last week, I think it was, back higher. But back above $200 here, guys, for Net on light volume. Again, some positive analyst mentions here for them.
Yes, sir. Sharif, we saw that smile when AEO got mentioned. I guess maybe you're a shareholder of American Eagle. That's why you're so excited. Is that it? Okay, just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that's, I can't imagine why else. Earnings, obviously, look, any earnings name with a short float, exciting to trade, and obviously could be a runner.
Retail space.
For sure, it's in retail, so that could be the reason why Sharif is so excited for that. Look, that one, we said this last night, AEO actually might end up being the most exciting in terms of trade. A potential movement, I think, for some of the earnings names tonight. Could get CrowdStrike, I don't know, all of those have been pretty boring. Net's on a bit of a rebound. I hate the volume here, unfortunately, but when you look at what's happening, the hold of the 200 and the $200 level, yeah, definitely heading back to a 220. But there was something I wanted to mention when you guys were talking about Kalshi, because everyone's hating on DraftKings. Hate. It's like the hater's ball on DraftKings. But meanwhile, DraftKings has made a pretty distinct on volume bottom, higher low, and today, we said this yesterday, today has a chance to open and close above the 50-period moving average for the first time since September 11th, actually. Since September 11th. So this has been pretty weak. Flashed the death cross, made a bottom $3 later, and now potential, I don't want to call it like a crazy breakout, but that little downtrend that's happened in DraftKings seems to be abating at this moment. And until you get to 36, I think that's going to be the test. So DraftKings, if anything, at least very short term, looks like you can be a bit of a long here.
I like this Netflix play here, off the reverse split, finally looking like it wants to get back above right here, that 108, which should have really held, but doesn't, comes right into basically $100 and bounces. I mean, we didn't even get there. We got to 103 right there on Netflix. So maybe just some air coming out of this a little bit there. 10 billion long-term cash goal is possible for Boeing. Okay, we'll have a quick look at that in a minute as CFO speaking right now. So that's good to get some updates on their cash position. I guess, yeah, we got that there, Andre. Thanks, my guy. But there it is, trying to break back above 110. We'll wait to see if Netflix can do that. It looks like they're trying to do it right now in the pre-market. Their NFLX, nice move there. As we talk about Warner Brothers and all that, is content remains king, and Netflix has that cash to go in and do something like that. They can even go into the debt market if they wanted to, I'm sure, and raise a little bit for that. Yeah, there goes Boeing. We like that one. Let's go Boeing. Again, averaged up into this position at $200. Right there, so that's the 200-period moving average. Does not hold, obviously, but trying to get back up there as Boeing dropping some great news stories right here as they look to get, that was 10 billion. Hearing Boeing expects deliveries to be up on both the 737 and 787 jets. Reading that as well, hitting the wire right now at 8:30. So more key events happening right now for Boeing, and there it goes back there to the upside. So maybe the Dow and things like that starting to get going one more time there. Here's the DIA. There's AM. Why is it so low on the option there? But by the way, that VCIG, we got out of it, and I'll show you what's happening now. It's at 110 right now, back down to the downside as well. That's why you got to sort of cash out a little bit there. So still off of the highs, but the Dow Jones 30 looking pretty nice there. You can trade that with DIA. Not up as much as the Nasdaq or the ES right here today, but Boeing should help that. And there goes VCIG, and this is why we get out for flat when it breaks back down below. And just like we said, take the profit and get out. So VCIG, I don't know, man, it might be a top name today, and it's just already 8:30. So there goes VCIG up and down. And we did hold that last 20% out for flat. So I'm really proud of the way that trade worked out. So VCIG, a nice mover here in the pre-market, just 12.5 million shares done. Would have liked to see a little bit more and get going, but another name that's reversed split a bunch of times. A $200 million sort of award there to develop some sort of a stable coin action there. So, all right, I'm going to turn back on our little news source here and see if there's any other little names popping like that. Yeah, the chip stocks today look like they're doing a lot better. I mean, that's so funny. So I was just saying like these AI stocks look like they're doing a little bit better. And now AMD backed Vulture, okay, to build $1 billion chip cluster for AI. Okay, well, I don't know. AMD's already started to head upside.
Obviously, Vulture's private.
This morning, yeah, AMD backed, yeah. So they just got a little bit of money in there. That's obviously not going to affect AMD too much, but it's nice that they're probably using their products, and there it goes. That's a nice move higher there for AMD, up 1.25%. NVIDIA, I think, is up a little bit more than they're up 0.8 right now. So they're both going here right now. SMCI, Dell, AVGO, all these names. Marvell with the report tonight. I'm really excited about that one. If we can get, I'm still waiting at 95. See if we get a piece out there. Hopefully that can happen. That's up another 2.5% here. Marvell seems to have been really off that bottom nicely now, like 6 or 7 straight up days from Marvell, and this is why I'm trying to get something out. Maybe 94 is a little bit better. We can alter that price even right now, but we might be able to get that right off the open if this market rallies. Marvell earnings tonight should be the biggest one that I would think.
Yeah, biggest company, biggest one that matters to them. Well, CrowdStrike and Marvell probably tie for what matters to the overall market. We know AEO is going to be in everybody's hearts. Look, I actually think AMD, if we just come back to that one with a Vulture story for a quick second here, this has a chance to finally break away from the hug. It's literally hugging every single close or like high has at least been right into the 50. Today it's trying to break that one out. So that 222 level, nice over under. And this is a massive gap that AMD's got on it above yesterday's high into at least like 30 or 37. I think I kind of like NVIDIA today because of its strength, but this will be a good backup plan, especially with, well, that Vulture news doesn't really matter that much, but this nice gap fill that you have above the 222 in play today for AMD. Someone who we're always excited to talk about. It's Tuesday. Bring him on a little bit early. We've got Mitch in the house, everybody.
Yeah, let's get right to him. Lots to cover. He wants to talk a little bit about retail as well. Mitch, good to see you as always. We've been touching on the fact that going into not only Black Friday, but Cyber Monday, we see a nice 2, 3, even 4-day rally potentially here for some of these names. Amazon standing out here this morning, right back to session highs currently as we speak here. We'll deal with Shopify maybe separately after what happened yesterday, but give me your thoughts here on the group overall.
I mean, killer move, right? We were looking for it. We talked about it last week, looking for Gap and A&F and all these. Best Buy was on an earnings report that it was actually down in the morning. Remember, we even got a bad retail report, but it was a seasonal trade, guys, and they were waiting for it. And with the market rallying back, that just gave it more of that juice to just come climbing back. I hope a lot of you guys were able to cash in. I know I was able to cash in on multiple of these trades, and now I'm looking to see which one of these are going to come down, because it's not that all the retailers are just going to keep sending all the way until the end of the year, but there are some that could continue to climb. You know, some names like Abercrombie and American Eagle, as people shop for the holidays, and they're going to be mall shopping, right? Names like Nike, I wouldn't run into. I think actually the Foot Locker acquisition by Dick's is actually going to be a positive in the long run for Nike. Nike's been trying to do more and more sales directly, right? And I think one of the ways that they can start doing this is cutting out Foot Locker, right? Why not cut them out, right? Just it's Dick's that's essentially making the money there. And so I think that you start to see these retailers really start to come back. So, of course, go towards more of the favorites. Gap's made a crazy move. Victoria's Secret, we talked about that one last week, another big ripper. I mean, there were so many of these that you guys could have cashed in on. The XRT, a crazy move. Now, one thing that you got to understand is we will have a calming period here in the early part of December. So if you see some pullbacks towards the end of this week, they're expected, guys. It's not just going to be a move straight up. So look for those quick pullbacks to actually play back in as we get more of the holiday talk and what the Santa Claus rally that comes at the end of the year, not the 24th and 25th, guys. But don't get some coal in your stocking this year, because it looks like coal is coming down also. So looking at some of those plays and seeing if Santa's loading up on some coal.
Discounted just in time. No kidding. Let's talk a little bit about retail, just from a higher perspective here. You mentioned XRT. If anyone's wondering, it's an ETF. If you want to just zoom out and look at the entire group, XRT, a good way to do that. gives you quite the perspective here. Going back to the beginning of last week, this thing has just been straight to the upside. That being said, we are seeing some of the initial data, Mitch, as far as Black Friday and Cyber Monday goes coming in. I mean, kind of in line with expectations or there or thereabouts, even a little bit on the weak side. Nothing really blowing things out of the water. Has this been overdone maybe a little bit?
Oh, 100%. Like I said, it's just a buy the rumor, sell the news. Now we're getting the actual news, which is the data coming out of it. That's why I'm expecting to see some of these start to trickle right back down, right? It's not just an everything rally, and that's one thing that you need to be apparent for, right? If you got some of these on swings, it's okay to take the profits, right? This is more of a seasonality trade, and then it starts to dip into early December. So this is what's going to happen, guys. I think you got to know which one's the favorites, maybe some that you want to keep holding until the end of the year, but definitely this is more of a day trade last week, and now the swing traders are already profiting.
All right, let's go on to crypto here. As we said, making a attempted bounce back here so far today, although not really convincing at this point. We're back to highs, I guess, right now. What do you make of this Vanguard story? Vanguard finally saying, okay, fine, we'll let you trade and hold BTC or IBIT or ETFs related to Bitcoin on their platform. They were the last really big name, it seems, kind of holding out.
Well, it might be that their clients are full of boomers, as they say. But yeah, I think that's probably what it had to be. But they got to the late party and, you know, they just looked at the clock and they're like, the clock is ticking, guys. And I mean, if we don't do this, we're going to actually start losing some of these boomer clients, right? And so I think at this case, it's just shows you that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency isn't going away, guys. It's going to be in everything. And if anything, you're going to start seeing more and more talk of, hey, why do I invest in the S&P? Why not just put investment capital in like long-term, right, retirement in Bitcoin? You're going to see more and more of this conversation expand. So I'm really just looking for a 2 to 3 day relief rally. This would just be like kind of a nice little pop back, right? Doesn't even need to make it all the way back. I actually already am fully disclosure swing long on ETHU. Grabbed it this morning, could see that kind of rebound coming in. Yesterday, I was just trying to watch the tape, especially on this name, to see how it was trading. I took a small, 25 share haircut, just literally just dipping my toes to see how the price action was going. This morning, I could clearly see it holding around this 51 to 51.75. So pullbacks to that 51.75 and 51.25 are buy areas. As long as we can hold 51 right now, I think ETHU can really start to gas pedal here. And you might want to see the move actually happen a lot in the pre-market because they'll start to run away from the bulls, and then the bulls will have to actually start chasing here at the open. So I think this is an interesting one. BITO is not as an easy trade. I think Ethereum is an easier setup here for it to bounce back. BITO would just be a nice little clear back above the 1675 area and the 1275 area, and you're seeing it start to push to 13 right now. So what I'd like to see on that one, clear drive through 13 and then a pullback to 13 would be the play for me on BITO.
A huge volume coming into most of these ETFs at the lows yesterday, so maybe a little bit of that institutional side buying coming into play. But why a BITO versus an IBIT if you're looking at it just from an intraday perspective?
It's really just your preferred vehicle. What I recommend for these is like actually watch the price action one day and see how you like it, right? Because there's going to be certain ones that spread out further than others, right? Like some people like to trade just ETH versus ETHU. I just want the gas pedal in a lot of these, right? So I'm looking for the ones that can give me that good lift and have good liquidity, right? So like, let's say for BITO, a lot of times the spread's going to be about 1 cent, and the volume I can size into that one a little bit bigger, right? That's going to be looking for smaller return on the cents wise. The percentages will still play out. On ETHU, what I usually like to do on that one is go very small size, almost really small, where it's not going to hurt you if you lose, but that one has a tendency of really booming when it gets going. So this is more of your momentum play in crypto if you're trying to play one, right? If you're looking for momentum, that ETHU, that thing has gas all over it.
And for anyone who's maybe not familiar with those types of instruments, it's a leveraged ETF, so you're getting twice the action there for ETH. Let's talk about interest rates. Teed it up a little bit before you came on here with
Yeah.
What's to come on Friday? We get a little bit of inflation-related data for the first time in a long time on Friday ahead of the Fed coming up next week. I read this morning, 86% right now, Fed Fund futures pricing in 86% chance of a cut coming into Wednesday of next week. You like the home builders here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been looking at rate-sensitive plays. The one play that continues to play is Rocket. So those are kind of more in your specialty finance, your lenders, right? Those have a tendency of making a move no matter what, especially with this rate-cutting cycle. Now you're going to see home buyers come out. And I think that this is the interesting part is, are we really going into more of a weak economic time, or are we just going back into where rate cuts are going to actually play in for these home builders? And there's been buyers waiting. Right? I know it's a little bit of a seller's market, a buyer's market right now, because I'm actually shopping, right? And I can see it around. The prices are starting to come down, but as interest rates come down, it's actually going to hold these prices, I think, a little bit higher, right? Because you're going to get, as soon as the interest rates start coming down, you'll get more buyers to step back up. More buyers, right? And no one's really concerned about, let's say, financial crisis and the homing crisis happening again. If anything that people have been concerned about is more regional bank and the commercial real estate exposure. So yeah, that still exists, but no one's worried about another 2008 here. So I think you're going to see more and more buying. So I'm looking at the home buyers right now, home builders right now, Lennar. I'm looking at Toll Brothers. They got nice flags. They just popped above. They're getting rate cuts. Of course, we're going to get the mention of a new maybe Fed chair in December. That could give this even more lift as there's more talk of rate cuts coming forward.
If you go to something like an Open Door, you had Open Door and Zillow on your list here as well. Yeah. I like how you separated the two of them, because I'm not sure they really care about interest rates at this point. Let's be honest. It's more about the Reddit sentiment indicator as far as those two go. But give me your thoughts here for Open Door currently.
It's hanging in there. If you pull it back, right? And this is what I think a lot of smaller traders have a tendency of not doing, right? They're looking at the daily. The daily chop is actually pretty wicked, right? You're getting chopped up all over the place. But look at it on a weekly, and then things just start to get clear as day. You start to see really support around the $7 spot. You've seen slight undercuts underneath that, but every time it undercuts 7, it gets right back up. So if it could clear 8 and 850, that's when you start to get the momentum right back in this name. And the key is going to be needed is volume. Volume is what's needed on this name. When we were really starting to rip, this name was trading easily, like you're talking 2.1 billion, 1.8 billion shares of volume, right? On a day, on a week, right? Now you're starting to only trade about 463 million. So start to see that volume pick up with the break of the 8 and 850 level, and this open could really just start shooting right back up, right? Of course, I think the rate cuts actually do help. It's just a tailwind to all that Reddit momentum.
All right, bottom end of the list here, Pepsi, you had on watch as well. And maybe preface this from the standpoint of, we've had a bit of a light, low volume float back up to recent highs as far as the market is concerned, but it's always good to be prepared either direction here. If we do get another rollover, if we do get a break through the highs, Pepsi on your list.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Chris Camillo, I was watching a recent podcast that he did, and he mentioned this one line. I think it's important. We all got to be ready for scenarios, right? Situations, right? And I think that's what day traders need to always have. Hey, if we go red today, what are some of the plays that I could play? If we go green today, what are some of the plays that I can play? Right? And then that way you're not fighting the market, right? If the market goes red, you're not like, oh, what am I just jumping at long here, right? And so right now I'm looking at defensive names, and they are creeping up. Pepsi is one that actually looks like it wants to break out here. Has a little gap to fill, right? And it's really close to that gap fill. It went to it yesterday. And I think today we can break the 150, get back up towards the 151 and start climbing back to the 155. And defensive names could steal a little bit of a lift as we get a little bit of more focus towards PE, right? Valuations are mattering a little bit more now. So you might see more kind of the bigger investor dip their toes in some defensive names and just want to just maybe play out a little return towards the end of the year instead of taking a high flyer.
You said it. We're heading into the final couple weeks here as far as trading is concerned. Just crazy how fast this year has gone by. What do we need to know as far as everything over at Trade the Pool goes going into Christmas?
Yeah, well, guys, if you missed your Black Friday sale, well, I'm sorry for you, but you got to get it while it's out there. We don't give many discounts, but I hope you got your accounts right and are starting to push into December, trying to get the new year with a funded account. I think that's a great way to start the new year. So keep pushing, guys. And we are going to be doing an event here in December, in mid-December, around the 22nd. So look for another event coming for you guys. And who knows, maybe Santa brings something around the corner.
Tons of opportunity left in the market for sure. Mitch Hope over at Trade the Pool. Good to see you as always.
Get after it, traders.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Mitch. And I know you mentioned, I want to talk Open Door for a quick little second because that was one of the names. It's on my radar today. But that weekly chart, I don't know if we actually showed the weekly when Mitch was saying, hey, have a look at the weekly of Open to see a little bit more support. And that's sort of the thing. Like you can have dip buy support in there, but it's like a chop fest. But that's not bad for day trading necessarily. It can be like tricky for, obviously can be tricky for the swing, but for the day trade, at least in this particular name, I know it's up 1%, but that's a function of what happened yesterday. Like you just saw Open Door lose the 750 area, and there has been support in here around like the high 670 range to about $7. But I just look at the stair step down. You consolidated for a while, all last week basically, broke down, and all you have to do is hold like 730. So on that note of depending on what the market does, I want things to look at usually in either direction. This would be one where it's a stair step down, just has to hold 730 on the open range. If it doesn't break out on the 15-minute above 730, then to me, the stock is a short, at least for today, into the support that Mitch was just mentioning there.
I was going to look at, it's a great call there for the 2 times Ethereum. I liked when he was talking about, you're looking for something that might, as Mitch said, have some gas to it. This is, as crypto gets going here, again, 87, we talked about finally a good day here as we were down 5-6% yesterday and IBIT up 2% today. Ethereum also, right? Remember, it's double the lever. So right there, if it's, basically up 3% today, it's going to be up 6. So there it goes. I think that this is a good call. If you're looking for something that has the potential to fill gaps, right there back up to the upside. Now remember, of course, Ethereum's a 24-hour market, so there's not, oh, hi, Ramin. How are you? Good. How are you doing? Good. I'm glad to see Ramin over there. Anyways, I really like this breakout here of Ethereum back up to the upside. I was saying just 24-hour market, so it's not like this gap is a real one or anything like that. It's just over the weekend we do fill that, and we'll see if we can get back up to the upside here on Ethereum, trying to break above this 5250 marker right there. I would just watch it for momentum. I don't necessarily need to break down a chart for this. It's just, let's wait to see if Ethereum gets going, and then we'll have to watch that BITO. He was giving some different examples, but levered today, and then here's MSTR. I think if you just wanted to trade strategy also, it's only a $170 name right now. It's, used to be in the $400 or $500 mark, and this name's really gotten clobbered as well. But we got to figure out if any of these names are being upgraded and downgraded, and I know just the place to go for that is Joe.
Where's that?
Let's go to Joe.
Correct, you have found the right place, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of the upgrades this morning. We're going to start this off with T-Mobile, going from an underperform to sector performed by KeyCorp. Relatively flat here in the morning. Now, as for MongoDB, up a whopping 23.5% this morning, guys. Price target lifted to $480 by Needham and Company. And then, yes, one of my favorite TKO holdings, JP Morgan Chase, getting the nod. Price target to $222. And then as for Victoria's Secret, guys, we're up about 0.25% here in the pre-market session. Price target raised to $45 by Telsey Advisory Group. Now, as for some of the downgrades here, guys, we have Lennar Holdings by price target BTI Research, lowering that target to $96, slightly negative on the session. And then Circle Internet Group here, guys, by Wolf Research, price target $60, slightly positive in the morning sessions. Now, as for Fubo, also getting the downgrade as well, too, going from an overperform to market perform by Raymond James and Company, and then Adaptive Biotechnologies, relatively flat here this morning. Price target lowered to $21 by Morgan Stanley, guys.
At this point, you don't get a lot of volume on TKO. But like the last couple, pun absolutely not intended. No, it has been a knockout. Like if you look at this one, just I guess it was last week, the big breakthrough. But look at the resistance here at 190 bucks. Sometimes the stock will just tell you what's up. Like there's a seller at 190, you break that seller, it turns into support, and then you're making the next leg to the upside. But like this is sort of the issue. Like it's in a consolidated phase, so you're waiting for the next available break. Like when it takes 95, maybe it resumes a bit of a trend. But look, you like that rebound, right? And they're in the right space, and I don't think necessarily growth can be an issue for them. But yeah, as far as the day trade goes, unfortunately, it's done 18 shares, which is about as light as I've ever seen in the pre-market for something which is of interest on the daily chart. It's probably more of like a swing or like if you like it, like a longer term hold. But it is definitely breaking out. There's no question about that.
So Boeing today, amid the presentation at the U.S. Global Industrials and Transportation Conference, that 10 times fast, 186, 196. Hello. Nice move upside there for Boeing, and it is still going. We brought you this story as it was breaking out. And I remember, I looked at this, I was like, oh, 190 is good. We'll get rid of that. Now you're up $6 from that level as this continues to climb higher again. Complete the spirit of purchase. Complete the spirit purchase later on this year. And then again, increased on deliveries there, as Brendan indicated earlier about 20 minutes ago or so. But Boeing still making that move higher right now, looking to clear out through 2 bills, and then we'll see after that where we go. But so far, so good here for BA, up 5% and still getting going as well. Is there 11 mil? Oh, there's 11,000 shares here. I'll just call this up for you. We have live level 2. We just trade off of actual equity and all that kind of stuff. These aren't CFDs or anything, so we can easily call up the live level 2. And we do have it there. It was, I saw somebody in the chat, don't see you anymore. Just want to know about that size at 182. Yeah, that's nothing.
Oh, that's nothing.
That'll be 13,000 plus another 1,000, 10,000, 20, maybe 50,000 plus a bunch of dark pools. But they're not as prevalent in the closed market as the pre-market as the open market, but still a lot of D's going through right now. It could just blow right through that, and I think, and obviously it will. So NVIDIA, my sticky note is now out. It is the #1 trade idea today on the sticky note. So I really like NVIDIA. We've already hit VCIG, which was a really successful start to the day there, and now we'll look to hit NVIDIA, and we'll go through obviously our watch list and everything. Make sure you do scan that QR code right there to get involved with real trading, of course, but you do want to make sure that you indicate our description, because there's the link for our watch list. It's absolutely fantastic. And then Sharif's morning note comes to everybody that's a subscriber, which is just $5. We had what's up to Eddie Sarkeesian yesterday. I think he dropped like 100 or something subscriptions. So make sure that you are in
silver.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure that you are in. Yeah, that's what he was trading, right? Make sure you're in the chat there and activate it. You got to go to your YouTube page and say automatically accept gifts or whatever, and then you'll be able to become a member. It's just $5 a month, and allows us to produce that Sharif sheet and then help with a few things around here as well. So we want to thank everybody. And there goes NVIDIA right now, just breaking through 182. So I was just almost like it didn't matter. Obviously, it's done 3.1 million shares so far and going higher. NVIDIA. It's going to be the trade of the day on the note here, but we'll see if we can get involved in it. I'm sure we will. All right, what's up, Mike Peter Ryder? Great to see you there in the chat. You are really pumping through a lot of notes here this morning, so it's great to see. I see you're in a good mood. 87.8 right now for Bitcoin, which is starting to get going higher here as the Nasdaq holding 0.4 for now. Looks like it's going to be another great open, and then we'll see what trades we can get involved with, and we're going to start running them down sometime around now-ish. Potentially.
We're already partnered.
Yeah, they were.
Sharif and I were just talking about this SPR Boeing tie-up as well. But anyways, we were thinking they were buying an airline there for a second, but nope.
And Spirit out of all the airlines.
All right, let's have a look at the market.
All right, guys, 68.27. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract. We're above it right now. We're at 68.49, so we're right on the door of 68.50. So that's going to be resistance level 1. We may get through that even before I'm done talking here. If we clear it, we're looking to yesterday morning's high there at 68, I believe, 68. 68.65. We'll say 68.75 as our second level of resistance. If we sell off, we defended 6,800 quite well the last few days. We'll say that's our first area of support. But Brendo, we're still putting in these lower highs on the 4-hour contract on the ES to get above the lower highs and start trending in the right direction. We got to get above 6,900.
Yeah, holding so far anyway for the overall market. If you haven't done so, yeah, that is the website you want to go to. Link is below. Top link in the description will get you to the sign up page for the watch list. Absolutely free every single day. Comes right to your inbox. You just need an email address. I'm just reading a couple of people going back and forth on X right now about Michael Burry being short Tesla. Apparently he was tweeting about how incredibly overvalued Tesla is, and some people were speculating that via Kalshi he had put on some sort of negative position with Tesla, but it's not true. So don't worry about that. I don't know why everyone is so concerned about what Michael Burry does on a daily basis.
Yeah, you get that one call, Brendo.
Yeah, let's go to well, a couple things about Apple right now. But first off, Apple had a huge day yesterday. If you failed to bring Apple up throughout the day yesterday, absolutely straight to the upside. We get to 283. We're hanging out here right now at the highs, essentially where things ended off yesterday. I mean, that's Gene Munster's opinion on this, but yeah, an executive on the AI side shake up here for Apple.
Exactly, Brendo. We've seen sort of the debacle with Apple Intelligence the last year and a half. Hopefully they get those ducks in a row. Let's talk about what they're doing to get said ducks in a row. They announced that longtime AI chief, John Giandria, is stepping down after leading the division since 2018. It's the most significant reorganization by Apple since they launched Apple Intelligence back in 24. Giandria will remain as an advisor until he retires next spring. It's going to be Amar Subramania. Sorry. He's formerly a Microsoft and Google DeepMind exec, and he's going to take over as VP of AI, but he's not going to report directly to Tim Cook. It's actually going to be Craig Federici, who he's going to be his boss there. The teams previously under Giandria will be redistributed across the organization, moving the CEO and the services chief, Eddie Q, to reflect, you know, that broader restructuring. Apple says it's significantly increasing its AI spending, Brendo, but its strategy, which is emphasizing on-device AI rather than cloud AI, basically necessitates way less CapEx than some of their competitors. That's seen both as a positive and a negative. I mean, if on-device AI doesn't end up being what they think it could be, then they'll be lagging. But if it does, then they'll have spent so much less their competitors and be in a better financial position.
I mean, they've been since day one, you know, all about hardware, and they make the most beautiful hardware there is in technology. So it makes a lot of sense. Thoughts here, guys? I mean, this 283, 283.50 just staring us in the face right now for Apple.
Yeah, another fresh, I mean, whatever. Yesterday, all-time highs.
Apple.
The only, if it wasn't for the fact that it was red today, this would normally be a, okay, all-time high, breakout yesterday, and then you just pull back. You had the prior high, which was 281, so you set that up for support. But the market's up half a point and Apple's down 0.16. And sometimes what's been happening is when like the AI names are going, Apple's been a little bit more tepid. So I think with NVIDIA breaking out a little bit here today, Apple could be taking it a little bit of time off. But I like the 81 level if you're going dip buy hunting. But today, with the chips leading the way, sometimes that's been, what's the right word to use? It's been a slower road to hoe for Apple when we have leadership from NVIDIA and some of the direct AI plays, at least for the day trade. So I put this one on the back burner. Like maybe if we find a little weakness, like those start to pull back, then look for an Apple long. Certainly if you were patient enough with it yesterday, you didn't need to have that off the open. It ended up breaking a little bit later. So 81, which was the prior high on the daily going into yesterday, that'd be the level to look for. But I look for the leadership to come from like NVIDIA today instead of Apple.
All right, so I told that story yesterday about I was sitting with Sia and having lunch, and she was asking me about which stocks to invest in, and I noticed that she had 4 Apple products or 3 Apple products just sitting within a arm's length of her, and I had mentioned why not just start by putting a quarter of whatever you were thinking about investing in Apple right now, and then starting to drip into it, or dollar cost average or whatever. Well, that was around lunchtime yesterday. So if she had done that, 280, now you're up at another $3 there today, as Apple's the largest position in my account. and it is just really, I mean, so well. And when we bought it down here, I said the next leg up is 250. That came real quick, and now 250 would be a dream to get some longs down into there. So yeah, this just continues to work out. I think it's absolutely a great story right now that the focus is going to be back on AI for Apple. And yeah, I love that, you know, as Brendan mentioned there, just the devices that they have continue to be bought, continue to be purchased, and now they're going to do device AI hardware based, you know, they have those not TPUs, but you know, a similar chip that they can run there. You know, you had to get the iPhone 16 and then 16 Pro and now 17s. They all have this AI compatible chip in there. And you know, the wife has it. I know Sharif has a new phone as well. Ramin, I believe, Brendo, like everybody's sort of, you know, in this realm, and it just continues to do this, make huge moves back into the upside. And again, like, it's going to continue to work. I really like Apple here. We don't have a settlement with China, or I know there's some controversy now with India and things like that. But Apple will be completely fine, man. Like, these guys can pay whatever fine comes through. They got that great deal there with Google. The judge came through, and that sort of solidified their relationship with Apple as far as Chrome is concerned. And now you're going to have Google pay Apple to put Gemini on their platform potentially if they even need it. And maybe that's what this AI is all about. This guy coming over is from Google, so I mean, deep mind. So I would think that that's obviously another great opportunity there. So for a trade today, though, it's like that's the 50 period right there. I don't, you know, with the Nasdaq up right now and going higher as we speak, I don't know if we dip down into this 280 area, but that to me is a level. And, you know, I don't think we get down into $3. I actually have NVIDIA, Palantir, Tesla, and Opendoor on my watch today. So yesterday we traded names that are on the note. We could still trade Apple, and if it just drop in, then great. But it's just hovering this 200 period right now. So let's give Apple a little bit of room here today because it is still negative into a green and ripping market. But this name waits for nobody. Like it can go and go pretty quickly. Yesterday, it actually tanked and then took off. There's been other days, you know, where we've had big moves to the downside, and then later on, you know, it starts to take off a little bit into the close. So let's just wait to see Apple get some momentum underneath it. It had it yesterday. Let's see if it has it again today. Apple, just a great stock to hold in your portfolio, regardless of your sort of market opinion. It continues to climb higher. Small dividend as well.
Just keeping an eye on AMD. There was a second headline here, guys, for AMD this morning in HPE. Here, I'll throw it up for everyone to read. There's the collaboration to advance open rack scale AI infrastructure. So expanding upon a prior deal between the two. So just keeping an eye on AMD shares there, not really doing a heck of a lot. Let's talk about Tesla. That is the story I was hinting at there. Big Short's Michael Burry warning Tesla ridiculously overvalued, quote unquote. And then there's a few people mentioning that there was a Kalshi position and whether it was negative or not or whatever, who cares? It doesn't matter. I mean, look at the stock. It's about to take out the highs right now. So clearly the market doesn't.
It's a good look for them in China, Brendo. So they're up 10% year over year in the month of November with respect to sales, and really has a lot to do with that Model YL that they dropped. It is a 3-row, longer range Model Y. And guys, the best part about this is, not that it's the Model Y selling, but this is their largest and steepest increase for monthly sales in 14 months, and not a moment too soon because China's been a hard market to crack. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows for Tesla today, Brendo. There are issues with the battery packs, especially in Europe. A European service provider reported that Tesla Model Y and Model 3 vehicles equipped specifically with a certain variant of the LG battery packs are experiencing what they're calling catastrophic failures linked to high internal resistance. About 90% of the cases they receive involve the LG packs, and they can't be repaired at the cell level, unlike the Panasonic battery packs, which allow targeted repairs. The estimates suggest, Brendo, that Panasonic packs last about 400,000 kilometers, while the LG packs start failing around 250. So we'll have to see exactly whether this becomes a bigger issue.
I was just sitting here thinking, you know, this whole side market or betting market can start to be an influence on
100%.
Equity markets from the standpoint that, like, what if you start seeing these major players in some of these stocks putting on a will Tesla close out the year at X price or above or below X price type of position via Kalshi. So it's kind of interesting as these gain more traction and gain more popularity that we see more and more of this. But
and it's peer-to-peer, what I like about it too. There's no internal bet or odds makers. It is what the dollars say they are, Brendan.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I do like that.
Yeah. Regardless, very strong here so far, guys, for Tesla.
Yeah, I think for the betting market thing, you get more concerned about those issues of some of the limits where to get raised. Thankfully, right now, like you're not allowed to be that big of a necessarily a mover in a single amount. You can, look, there's always ways around that, obviously. But just going back to Tesla here, I'm going to feel the same way I did about this yesterday. And we talked about this at that 433 on the 15-minute. Did it break it? Yeah, it ticked above 433. And that's an obvious level. And you've got a gap fill to 440, 442 if it can hold. But it needs to close on the 15-minute above. So I want to see this act, not wick 430, 433. It's at that price right now. Close above on the 15, and then you can get going for Tesla. So story, no story. It's the same level as yesterday. It just needs to not completely abjectly reject it right away off of the open. That's sort of the thing. Like with a breakout trade, like you have to have some parameters that you want to see for it to be a continuation. And here we go. BYD's data platform produces less than half of Tesla's, says Piper Sandler. So that's pretty bullish.
All right, so I have Tesla written down today on the notes. So if you guys are interested in having a quick look, I think that will, like I said, we generally will trade these names that are on here. So you can go have a quick little look. Oh, we tweeted this. We have updated stats for our picks for 2025. Right there, you guys can go have a quick look at what's performing where. But here we go. NVIDIA is on there. There's Tesla right now. It's been green in this pre-market, and now it's even trying to extend even further right now. We're looking to see if it can break above that 440 here to confirm and just continue with its consistent range. But what we have here is a 429 to 430 long. I mean, we sat there and we were talking about that 418 level forever, and then all of a sudden, it bounces off of that, and now it's starting to head a little bit higher. So right now, again, just watching out for this market here off the open. I don't think we need to get involved right away, but that's 426, 427. That would be a disaster if you're holding that 430 long. So we're not going to hold it for very long. If it does come back in, we'll watch out for 429. If we lose 428.50 or so right into here the afternoon, sort of right before we bumped, if we can lose 428.50, we can get out and then load the boat up if it does continue to make moves down here and show us that this is the bottom. But again, up more than the market here today. I like all the stories. I love the car. Obviously, I see people in the chat asking me about it. It's been an absolutely fantastic purchase, one of my favorites. And it just continues to work on a long-term basis. I think Tesla gets back up over and near its all-time highs quite soon, to be honest with you. Once we start releasing those robo-taxis and Dan Ives and everybody just gets on board with this thing, I think you get a couple upgrades. Like, you're going to come in one day and Tesla's up 3 or 4%. That puts it right back up here anyways. So as we continue to go, if we could just continue that momentum, it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 days in a row green here. And yeah, sure, they dipped down. The whole Nasdaq got hit as this was happening. So nice move back upside there for Tesla. Moments away from another all-time high break, and that could be imminent. So I would not be shorting this name. It's trying to break through the 50-period moving average on a daily. I really like Tesla, and any sort of a dip buy opportunity, for me, I'm all over that. So we're going to wait for it right now with now we have 18 minutes to go. We'll see what Tesla does right off the open. It's always a mover. So give us an opportunity, though. Like, look how clear this was yesterday. And traders got to trade, right? And this is what we say. You got to look for these opportunities. And if they're there, then you take them. So there was Tesla yesterday at 426. I mean, you could have traded it not at all until 10:30, 11:30, and then again right here at 3. So either one of these moves gets me going. So I'm happy with anything like that. Let's wait to see if Tesla can do something similar here today. TSLA, it's on your boys' radar.
All right, let's continue along. So much to discuss this morning as far as individual movers. We touched on this one a couple of times. If you joined us in the first 30 minutes, remember, 8 o'clock, forever, going forward now. Come join us at 8 o'clock in the morning. Shopify with an outage yesterday. We're bouncing back nicely. Unfortunately timed outage on Cyber Monday, coming on the back of decently strong numbers worth mentioning for both Shopify, we talked about a little bit, and Adobe as well, posting better than expected numbers going back to Black Friday, and then projections through to Cyber Monday. Again, bouncing back here, we're right back to yesterday's high before the selling kicked off. So we'll see if we can hold.
Yeah, an unfortunate event, Brendel, but you got to be ready for these big events. They'll learn from this and they'll do better next time. Hopefully, they experienced a significant outage on Cyber Monday, as Brendel mentioned, preventing many merchants from logging in or accessing point-of-sale systems. The disruption impacted, guys, both the online storefront management as well as in-person transaction tools. Down Detector showed a spike of around 4,000 reported problems as the outage peaked at around 11 a.m. and it started to improve from then, with reports spanning POS failures, admin lockouts, delayed order processing, the works. Shopify, just to give you an idea of how big this company is for U.S. customers, they power more than 10% of all U.S. commerce, like Reebok, Mattel, Barnes & Noble, Nestle, they all rely on Shopify. The outage struck during a massive online spending surge with Adobe, Brendo, as you mentioned, estimating $14.2 billion spent on Cyber Monday, which is 6.3% bump year over year. Black Friday saw around $11.8 billion in online revenue, which is up 9.1% year over year. So whether you're looking for the Monday sales or the Friday sales, it look good right now.
Yeah, positive numbers, definitely always good to see. Just to make it official here, going back to that Tesla Burry thing, here's Michael Burry now on Twitter. Fortune article is completely wrong. I never said I shorted Tesla in that post. So anyone who's wondering, he's not.
Okay, well, whether he is or isn't, doesn't necessarily matter there for Tesla. I mean, there's plenty of people that do short it anyways, right? So when the stock wants to squeeze, it doesn't need anybody else in there for sure. We have plenty of bets against that stock based on valuation. I'll see your shop and kind of raise you Walmart, but just for going over shop again, I just think you might run into a little bit of trouble at the 50 and the 160 level. So the 50 period moving average and the 160. So nice relief rally, tending to take that story and for now on very, very light volume and just sort of take that and ignore that story as you're getting a bit of a bounce. But this was a weak one yesterday, pretty much the entirety of the day. So if it were to get back to 55, that would make sense. But that 160, I think, is going to be trouble. And I say, just if I'm looking at retail, I mean, come on, Walmart, another all-time high yesterday. The last week, look at it bounce to 50 4 days in a row. It might need a consolidative day. Sometimes that's what it'll do that a little bit here. But if you look at the last few sessions here on Walmart, it's been like break, yeah, kind of hold and then break. Bit more consolidative yesterday, so there wasn't any real gigantic breakout. But that's the retail name that I'm the bigger fan of. So Shopify, I like the fact that it's doing a little bit of a rebound, but I think there's still some better names if you like the space. Walmart just continues.
Yeah, you guys know I made some bets on Target and on Lululemon. So I put some money down on both of these names, and both working out so far as we get a little bit of sort of get up to both of these names. The next time it comes up to 100, we're going to get out, though. We had bought it down into these sort of lows here. I think it's, I keep saying I'll have to double check. It's either 86 or 88 bucks there on Target as that's trying to get back up. Target price, $100 on that one. I mean, if we can make 15% and get the heck out of there, that's probably a decent opportunity there. And then Lululemon, I mean, buying some in the 60s down there was obviously a good price, as we'll see now that it's up into the 80s again. So there's Lululemon making some. And this was a name where I put on a bet right there and then bought some more right here. So we're just about flat now. I think we're up like 3% or something when we checked yesterday on Lululemon. So hopefully that continues to climb higher. And yeah, I'm getting a little greedy here with this target price in and around this 230 or so spot there for Lululemon with their report coming later on this week. So I don't know. My family is buying Lululemon. There was Shopify. And, we talked about, how Shopify had a 25% Black Friday number, which is great, but they were looking for 28. So not that great after all. But what looks great here is the chart. And I think down here into this 140 area, it looks like it's trying to find that bottom. And we maybe have done that on a little wick bottom there. But many stocks look like that because the Nasdaq was getting crushed. Now you're trying to get back up over that 160. So I think a 160 break on Shopify. And we stamp that. So if that can come into a break of 160, get above the 50-period moving average, you can use 140 as your route, and then you get right back there to all-time highs once again for Shopify. That's moved over from the New York to the Nasdaq, which is why our charts don't look like that. It may not be all-time highs, actually, on Shopify. I think this thing really went during COVID. You know, some of the other names, we're not going to get to anything. We don't cover too many banks on here unless it's, you know, a SoFi or Robinhood or something that gets excited. We don't trade them too often, but JP Morgan as well. I just wanted to look at that name. That's above right now the 50-period moving average and trying to hold that one. And then our daily look at SoFi and Robinhood also. SoFi, darn man, to miss out on that 25-26 last week was something else. I really love that level charting-wise on SoFi. That was a great little opportunity there. And then with crypto back, I mean, here we go. Like, this is what you're waiting for in space like Robinhood. You know, we talked about how they're basically tied at the hip, it seems like. As crypto falls, Robinhood loses some of its momentum. And then now today with there it is, man, Bitcoin now at 88. We started the day at 87. Nice move up there for IBIT, nice move up there for Robinhood. And there it goes, man, the crypto space back to a little healthier today as we don't have to worry about it completely collapsing now through that 80,000. We need another 10% move for that to happen, which could, but probably not intraday. We don't get too many big intraday moves on Bitcoin anymore. You know, it's pretty steady here with all the institutional money, but there goes Robinhood, SoFi, good look. And then Webull made a generational dip buy into $8, which was its all-time low. Well, hopefully that's a generational buy, and we don't get to make that opportunity more than once. There it goes, $8 now for Webull. So all these names starting to catch good bids on crypto move higher right there. So far, so good there. Let's go back over and, here we go. Yeah. Something to do, not anything to do with Bitcoin. You've got Shopify. Oh, the TV went out in the back there. Okay, that's all good. I can't see Sharif anymore. I just see his head. You know, he's got the black. Yeah, where's Sharif going? All right, let's go back over to the desk and talk about, hey, maybe Netflix had an outage. You know, maybe that was what, you know, like you said yesterday, we were putting up the tree and we had the Netflix fireplace on in the background. I think we should put the fireplace on in the background there. That would look kind of nice.
Still fireside chat action.
Oh, Toronto's back. Toronto went dark there. That was the problem. We had a power outage here in Toronto and it's back. All right, let's go back over to the desk.
We should rotate that with something else.
A little troubleshooting happening in the background. So yeah, just disregard if that goes black once again. I was just reading through a list of potentially what Netflix could acquire as a part of this WBD deal. I mean, all of the HBO stuff, very well known, you know, fantastic shows, House of Dragon, The White Lotus, the most recent, all of the DC franchise shows that are included in that would be a part of this. There's a lot of reality TV that would come along with this as well, apparently. TLC, HGTV, the Food Network.
Oh, now you got my attention.
You want to watch the Food Network on Netflix?
No.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. But anyways, there's a cash bid, apparently, that's been submitted by Netflix, or quote-unquote, mostly cash offer, according to Bloomberg here, for the assets of WBD. So outside of HBO and HBO Max and all of the very well-known shows, there's a whole bunch of other stuff here that they could potentially get along with this.
Absolutely. CNN's involved in that as well. Brendo News, Warner Brothers Pictures. So you've got some legacy stuff there. Look, it's a good look. And this is not new to us because we know that the company's up for sale. The board is looking for a buyer. And they've received now second round of bidding, Brendo, including, as you mentioned, the mostly cash offer from Netflix. Bankers, though, for Paramount, Skydance, as well as Comcast, Netflix included, they worked through the weekend to submit improved proposals, all targeting different pieces of the entirety of the company, I should say. These offers give the WBD board flexibility to move quickly if a preferred deal emerges. Not a bad look there. And they meaning WBD, recently rejected Paramount Skydance's offer for $24 a share bid, Brendo, which valued the company at nearly $60 billion. A potential WBD deal would create another major shift in the media consolidation following that $8.4 billion Skydance Paramount Global merger. And as you mentioned, you had a more comprehensive list than I, but HBO, CNN, Warner Brothers Pictures, DC, Harry Potter, all these franchise rights would be included. And I was hesitant to mention anything as you were speaking, but all those different shows from HBO, I feel like I have no idea what's going on because I don't know any of the names. But yeah, they all seem quite popular.
If you don't know those ones, wait for this list. Here is a list of a few, anyways, on the reality TV side. 90 Day Fiancé.
I know about that one.
Shark Week, that's a big one, obviously. Yeah. Naked and Afraid.
I know about Sean liked that for a bit.
Big competition series like Holiday Baking Championships and Rock the Block. No idea.
No, that one
Potentially all on Netflix.
Yeah, well, I know two of those ones. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. So like if you see WBD halt, it's probably because one of these deals, one of these, I guess, offers got accepted. For now, Netflix, the market doesn't seem to. That's right. Can't use. I'll just zoom in. Obviously, the recent split on. No, the market when we're up. Netflix is pretty much flat. So I don't wonder if this is a simple case of until we know a price tag, putting Netflix in the penalty box and just kind of hands off. If they end up winning the bid, great, then you can assess it at that point. If they don't, at least based on the initial reaction here that their cash bid is in, I would suggest that if somebody else wins the bid, Netflix might get a little bit of a bump just because it happens to be heading down. But I'm not touching this until some kind of a deal is announced, right? And we know who the actual players are going to be. The imbalance locator is pretty much a nothing burger this morning. The M&R with a small buy of 150,000 and ABEV, that's nothing, a couple hundred thousand. Ford Motor, U.S. EV sales down 61% to 4,200.
Probably ripping.
Down 61%, not moving at all. Now, Ford not really moving on that, but down 61% down to 4,200. Yeah, at the beginning of the month, you get some EV sales data. It wasn't good for NIO yesterday, I'll tell you that much. But Ford, not very good year over year.
Yeah, Ford, like we were talking about, like still crushing many car companies this year, but I should probably sell. All right, so yeah, I think the more content is better. These guys are already content is king. We talked about that, and they can get more now with this deal with Warner Brothers. So I really like it. I think, you know, my daughter wanted to watch that Toddlers and Tiaras, so I subscribed to Warner Brothers Discovery for a month or so, or 2 months, whatever. They got my money. Now it's going to be all included. Great. I think that the more content that they can provide to people, the more it'll justify whatever anyone's paying per month. And if you don't like Netflix, you probably don't have it now anyways. And I don't know if this is a needle mover to get people to sign up or anything like that. It's just more content. It gets people locked on the screens. And if they have the ad tier, it just allows them to play more ads. I really think any sort of a content deal for Netflix is fantastic. They made one with WWE, obviously TKO there. The UFC is going to have some fights on there. All the Jake Paul stuff, all the boxing that they're doing, you know, sporting events, trying to get involved with football. I think they got the Christmas Day game or whatever. You saw Amazon get involved with that. They made a Black Friday game. Surprised there's not a Cyber Monday game that was sponsored by Netflix yesterday or something like that. So there's just lots of opportunity for them. And of course, that recent split gets retail excited, even though it really shouldn't, but it does. So here goes Netflix, man, taking out that 110. I really like the stock. I think it's a great story for them moving forward. I don't really care about the price that they pay for it. I mean, some people are going to say it's probably too much, some's too little. At the end of the day, it's going to accrue on their earnings. So we'll have to wait to see what their next, or maybe a couple earnings releases from now, and where Warner Brothers fits into that, and if it was worth it for them to go in and dig. But you know, the more eyeballs they can get on their content, just simply put, the better it is. So I don't really care who they buy, but I'm down as a shareholder. I'm down for them buying everybody, to be honest with you. So let's get some consolidation in this space. I think it's about time. I mean, how many subscriptions can you have? I saw HBO Max is $2.99 a month. HBO Max. You can get that for 12 months, $2.99 a month, $3. That's like less than a cup of coffee. And you can get everything that HBO Max has. Disney is $3.99 a month. That's $4 a month. You know, so I don't know how much money is being made over here, but they need the eyeballs. It's the ad generation. I love that tier for all of these businesses. So let's go Netflix, buy them up, baby.
I was just reading about some new ETFs, guys. If you want a little spice in your life today, GOU, a brand new offering from Granite Shares, a 2 times Google ETF. RTYY, also from Granite Shares, is a yield boost. I'm not sure what that means. Yield boost Riot Platforms ETF. And then HMYY, get this, is also a yield boost HIMS ETF. So if you want more volatility than HIMS already has, then what was it? HMYY for that one. Whatever. Let's talk about Meta back through the lows here quickly, trying to get back through the lows right now, in fact. For Meta, I mean, there's nothing significant on this today. There's a couple of AI-related stories kind of skirting Meta, but overall, this thing not bad yesterday as far as the overall market went.
Yeah, it was nice to see bounce back off that 600 Brendo that it lost for a little bit of time. So now trading back above that. Today, it's really Evercore ISI giving them the nod, and not for the reasons you would expect. They're really focusing here on WhatsApp monetization. They reiterated their outperform rating with an $875 price target, but they're arguing here that WhatsApp is becoming a powerful long-term revenue engine. The firm estimates WhatsApp could generate could be about $40 billion in segment revenue by 2030 and about $20 billion in operating income, adding about $7.15 EPS for that year alone. But ultimately here, it has to do with that $189 billion trailing 12-month revenue number that they have, with 82% gross margins on that trailing 12-month $189 billion. Just give you an idea here of what kind of money they're making and what kind of profits they have. Evercore also breaking up why WhatsApp monetization has potential. They're saying that the updates and channels is a high margin broadcast. Content tools are also talking about paid business messaging, which is increasingly used in Latin America, India, and Southwest Asia. And click-to-message ads, Brendo. I don't have any advertisement on my WhatsApp, so I'm not really sure what they're referring to here, but that's something they're exploring.
Just reading a note, you and I were just talking about this from the OpenAI standpoint, declaring quote-unquote code red as competition intensifies since ChatGPT's release. The Nasdaq has rallied more than 100%, extending its record streak of positive 3 years returns that's been intact since 2011. But OpenAI, market's about to open, but OpenAI back in focus again. Guys, good luck.
All right, market now open. Yeah, Nasdaq opening up 0.4 right now. The ES opening up 0.25. So the market starts to go. NVIDIA does break back down below 182 right now. So we did talk about that break early. Now it's fading just a little bit here for NVDA. So we're going to have to watch out for that name going. Here's Netflix. Everything's getting to the downside. We just talked about Meta. That got hit pretty good early as well, as the boys were mentioning, down to 642 there for Meta. But Tesla was going to be a potential early trade. We wrote down 430, man. It just bounced off that, but we don't want to worry about it yet, man. The market just opened now, 30 seconds. Welcome to the jungle, everybody. It's Palantir day, it looks like, again, as that just ripped.
Apple black.
Yeah, right now. Huge move there for PLTR. Let's wait to see if it falls back in. But another name on the stock watch list for me, gone. Palantir up 2%. And then one more look, and I'll see what Neil's looking at. Boeing right now. Let's go. Awesome. Bang. Awesome. Boeing up 6%, man. A huge day for Boeing and their shareholders. I happen to be one of them, so that's nice. Let's see if we can break back above that 200. There goes NVIDIA again also. Everything now catching bids.
Well, not AMD.
No.
AMD actually falling down into 220. So, like, yeah, the Palantir going ham to the upside, NVIDIA breaking out the highs. You've got AMD cracking through some lows. Nothing crazy yet on Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin doesn't tend to move too much off the open, but it is up. We're at 88.7. Just watch Opendoor I was liking the 730 level, which is real tight on Opendoor. Ooh, so if this does get up there, looking for a fail of 730 to pop into a fade. We didn't get a chance to address Beyond Meat at all. Wow, sorry. NVIDIA just really went. Yeah, NVIDIA is really going. So pullback in a prior high, seeming incredibly unlikely here on NVIDIA. Look at the hold of VWAP, as the leadership is coming from NVIDIA today. No questions asked. So
thank you, Randy.
AMD, not sure why we're seeing so much weakness out of AMD, but it doesn't matter. It's NVIDIA's party for sure. So the only thing that's imminently at a potential level for me ends up being Opendoor off this 730. Just tag 730 and pull back in. Close this first candle underneath 730, and I'll go for the short. Crazy NVIDIA. I don't know why AMD is so weak, though. That's a curious one, because they kind of bounced together yesterday.
Yeah, normally I'm looking short on AMD, but yeah, today AMD's still up 1.1%, so still doing okay right now. But yeah, there goes NVIDIA 184. So huge move there to the upside. Too bad, man. Like, we had this name on watch, knew it was going to have a day kind of like this, but just waited to see if there was some action in the market, and there was good action today. The problem is the names that I was looking to buy didn't actually dip. I mean, on my note today is NVIDIA, it's Palantir, it's Tesla, and it's Opendoor. So here's my note, Palantir. All right, Apple, sorry, not Apple, Tesla. Maybe Tesla is the one that we actually could get involved with right now. I mean, if anything's dipping on our list, it's this. And here we go right now, big time movement down for TSLA into that 429 area. So we're getting close to a spot where we were thinking about buying this name here, TSLA. So I think we could probably get involved in it. It's just, I didn't want to suffer too much if this does start to fall in, but you know, scared money don't make money. We already know about that. That's something that you guys talk about in the chat. I'm gonna try it right here. We did talk about 428 or so, giving that up. So if that does come through, then we'll look to get out. But I'm gonna try to get a dip buy. I just bought some 50s there. I'm gonna try to dip by 420. There it is. That's me at 11. So there we go. Now we're into this. Let's just give it to 428, man. If we break through there, then we can scram and get away from Tesla without, you know, risking too much. And then wait to see if that area does hold from yesterday, right? That's that sort of 427-ish, 426 area. But we're not gonna, you know, wait for this falling knife. We're gonna trade it aggressively right now and see if it does have that move back there to the upside. So first position, unless you've been in one, here we go. Tesla right now, it's just $1. All right, Dollar Club already there. So 1 for 1, 2 for 2 today, VCIG and Tesla.
Yeah, first one for me is going to end up being, well, it might have been Palantir if it dipped further, but it's not going to be. It's going to be silver. That one broke out early this morning at about 9, I checked that, 9 o'clock. But back into the volume-weighted average price, want to play this long. It was all-time highs yesterday. I want to play this back into set all-time highs. But I had the same things on my list. The only difference was maybe IBIT and Bitcoin, which is at almost 89,000. But here comes Palantir back into VWAP. So Palantir, big-time breakout. Obviously, as everybody can see, 171.5. That's just going to be the volume-weighted average price, but there's plenty of room for Palantir. I think 176 is realistic today. So in silver on the bounce, but I want to catch some Palantir back into VWAP if we're at least able to get it. So far, so good. We like high-hold silver. The Nasdaq above 25.5 means looking long.
Boy.
As long as we close above 25.5, only really looking for the long today.
All right, back over here, guys. We just got winners. There's Tesla right now $2 in as we continue to go. So Neil's on silver right now long. We're on Tesla long, and there it goes. And I just wanted, we're doing it again. I mean, the sticky note does get a lot of coverage on here, but it's free resource. And there it is right there, man. Tesla, 429 to 430 long. We're long at 429. It's now, Neil, $2.50 in the money. So that's going to be a good one there as we'll wait out for more movement happening somewhere else. We're actually out of half already. So let's just, you know, hopefully this doesn't turn into a loser. I'm going to get out of another piece right here in the 50s or 60s again. We're at 58 there. Hopefully we do get that bump up there and start to elevate. It did dip down there out of nowhere off there it is. We get that 58 right down there off the open. So that's something to definitely pay attention to for us, those kind of levels. But here we go again, man, up $2 and change. VWAP in the 200 period is right where we're at right now. So one more piece out, then I promise I'll stop. But yeah, nice upside play there for TSLA. I hope you guys have some of this and enjoying the trading so far here. And we'll continue to look for names for you guys. I know you were looking at that Palantir, and then Open Door, another name on the watch list, coming, or on the sticky note, trying to come in into 7. So if that does make it there, we're not bidding 715s, we're bidding 705. So we'll have to wait for that. Now $3 now in the money on Tesla.
You were looking long on Open Door. I was actually waiting for the open print to make a decision off 730. It's not closing underneath.
Wow.
If it closed underneath, I'm looking short. So I took one leg out there on silver, still trying to pick up Palantir on the bid, just trying to show you both. But I want to make sure it takes some out into the high because VWAP is still a bit of a ways away on silver, so it's almost like 52.5. So I don't want to be adding to this until we get down there. But there's Palantir actually breaking toward the high of the day, so we might not even be able to get, I can't cancel the order from the chart. We might not even be able to get that dip, unfortunately, on PLTR. And it's a pure technical break. So I just feel like it has room to 176. That first dip gave you 72s, not VWAP. So we might just back off and look for the next available dip on that bad boy. Thank you for throwing in the chat, BE on a rampage. We want to make sure we get to as many names as possible. Bloom Energy, if it ever loads up. $5. I know this is one that people were all over the other day. And another strong move here for Bloom Energy, as it's up 8%. I did not hear any story on it this morning in particular, but it's definitely going bloom. Maybe Darryl will be able to get that one to us. So it doesn't look like I'm going to get Palantir, but Open Door is going to close underneath that 730 level. At least that's what I'm seeing. So going to get that one to the south side. I prefer Rocket to Open Door. If you were looking, I know Mitch was talking about those before. Much more bullish chart. But Open breaking back underneath 730, that's a rejection of this level. So I'm going to start that one short. Only a small capper that I'm looking short. Above 25.5, I think anything that follows the market, I'd rather be long.
All right, yeah, man. I mean, here we go. So it's 9:38. We made our daily goal there. So this is why we're excited to be able to sit here and trade for you guys every single day. There go. Now it's $4 now in the money. Huge move to the upside here for Tesla. This is what trading's hopefully all about. Is just finding those opportunities, right? So let's look for some more right now. Let's just check out what's actually happening in the broader markets here early. NVIDIA is just ripping right now as well. NVIDIA, there it is, up 3%. Apple going up 0.36 right now. Tesla up $4 going as well. Amazon trying to go. There's Tesla right here. Weakness in the financials. Weakness right now in healthcare, as Eli Lilly wrote, flat. J&J weakness, big time weakness in consumer non-durables. As we look at Procter & Gamble to the downside, Coke. We had Mitch talking about Pepsi. That's down 1% there today as well. Monster Beverages. So some of these names getting hit here as the focus today seems to be all over in this quadrant right here with the technology names. Broadcom, AMD. There's Boeing slipped into electronic technologies. Okay, they're up 5%. That's a nice move as well. Intel up 2.25. But yeah, we are now out of about half of our Tesla trades. So nice move there, getting to the high side as we try to find out what markets are bumping and where we're going from here. So a little bit of a pullback there. I'll take out another piece right now at 20. So there it is. We get another piece out there. $3. The highest this went was $4, but missing the trade on NVIDIA and Palantir might be something. But those of you that lost faith in NVIDIA, I mean, it's just getting right back to that high side now. 1 week high over 185. There goes NVDA, absolute ripper there. Nasdaq going. So if you're not, I was saying yesterday, it's time in the market, right? Not timing it. I mean, if you just bought any time last year, last week, last month, I mean, the Nasdaq continues to work out, and there we go, one more time up there. So, what's up, Jacka 2296 right there. If we have that super chat up, Andre, that's a great one, man. $10. Thank you for the super chat. There it is, man. $66,000 of profit right there. I mean, that's more than a year of worth of earnings there. So great job there. 182.5 calls. You nailed that, man. You picked it up on Friday. That takes some guts. So good call on that one. Jaka Yaka there. We really appreciate the super chat, and congratulations, Monster Trade. And I'm glad that you were able to realize some of those profits. And if you haven't, maybe think about it. That's a pretty aggressive move, probably spiking there on the premium. So get out for sure some of that, but great trade over there. I'm still long in Tesla. I'm sure we both are. The things just went away there. I've no idea why, but that always does happen. There it is. I'll get out and call it back. So there it goes right now. Let's go over to Adara.
Yeah, just be aware here, NVDA actually moving higher right now, pulling back a bit, but currently they are presenting at a UBS tech conference saying that they do not see an AI bubble. Nothing new here, but again, NVIDIA presenting at this conference that is going to be on watch as we send you back to Sean and Neil. Again, remember to like and subscribe. No economic data today. The Fed's Bowman will begin testimony for a House committee at 10 a.m. Back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Yeah, so that conference is like a 5-day conference, so I don't know. I don't think that's not the reason why we like NVIDIA today. I mean, it happens to be the story, but I don't think that's going to be the reason why. The early look on silver yesterday, we had to wait until about 950 to get the bigger longs, and then VWAP was much better. We're 0 for 1 for now, but yesterday we were able to get it all back a couple of times, but it's still trending down. And this trended down, as I said, for about 30 minutes and then caught a bit of a bid. So I'm going to jump out when we lose VWAP and look for another opportunity to get back in. Palantir is still going to be the one that got away. That's the only one. Just hadn't been any kind of a dip. Oh, there was one other thing. Tilray. I'd mentioned that Tilray did a reverse split. It was 10 to 1 or 1 to 10. $8 was the prior close, about 780 or so. So it's already in the red.
Ooh,
I was
Tesla.
thinking this actually had a bit of a bid on it. and could do like a break. And I said in the chat, well, $850 were the levels I was looking for short on Tilray. It doesn't look like it even wants to press into 850. So at this point, I'm just going to be really patient with it, allow the volume to maybe kick in, maybe make a run at the high, and then try to fade it. I tend to think every single small cap, most small cappers like this, when they do a reverse split, I want to favor the short side of the trade 9 times out of 10.
All right, everybody, make sure you do hydrate. Get your hydration nation going on at all times, whether or not it's coffee, tea, straight water, vodka.
Coffee's not the best hydrator.
Definitely not. 98% or maybe 99% water, but yeah, definitely dehydrating on the caffeine side. That is for sure, I guess, but I am no doctor. All right, so more outs there at 430 50s. You know, like I said, we are now holding on to 30% now of this trade on Tesla as it makes its move and then just comes right back in. We saw this yesterday with a stock like Micron that we traded yesterday where we were short early, kept on hitting the short, kept on hitting the short. Eventually it broke out, right? And once we broke those levels, we were able to get out of 438. 238 there on Micron. So I think it's very, very similar trading here on Tesla. We haven't had, I don't even have a stop in. You know, well, our stop was 428.50, but I removed that now. I think we can probably go back. I'm not going to average into this name. I mean, it's weaker than the market. We took advantage of that move higher there for sure. So let's not, I'm going to take out one more piece here actually in the 40s if we can get it. There we go, we get it. I'm just, it's looking weak. Like with the Nasdaq being upside here, let's just make sure that we have that stop in at 428.50s. All right, and then we'll just get out if it breaks that, and then we'll buy it lower. Like that's the strategy there. We've already taken it out. We just got another piece out there for $1 right there. And then Apple, like honestly, man, so what a name to have in the portfolio, obviously, as many of us do. And Apple, new all-time highs right now, up 0.46% and cruising, looking to take out highs again. Like these are the names I want to buy on any weakness today. I don't want to focus necessarily on Tesla. I'd rather look at the strong names that are.
The strongest.
I love some Palantir. Palantir actually, I'm gonna get out of some of this at 175 was my plan. We're getting pretty close to that rate now, so we'll double check to see if we're close to getting out of some PLTR. So so far here today, VCIG and Tesla 2 for 2. We have Silver and Open Door over there, and we have Adara back with some news.
Keep an eye on Amazon, guys. The information reporting that as an Amazon retail exec is departing the company for a business development role at OpenAI. They were at Amazon for more than 17 years. If I get more details, I'll let you know. But again, the information reporting that an AMZN retail exec is ditching the company for OpenAI. Back to you.
Okay, I mean, I don't know, what's the word? The hot potato execs in the AI space hasn't seemed to be like too big of a deal. So I wouldn't read that much into it. Amazon actually wasn't on the list for stocks to look at today. Okay, Palantir just tagged 174. Maybe this is going to be a little bit of a dip. It's this and NVIDIA that are like, they're the strongest names. 3%, 3.5%, 2.8%. VWAP sits 184 on NVIDIA, 172 and a third on Palantir. Just want to look for that dip. Open didn't actually break the high, and maybe there was a dark pool print or something. I don't know. Sometimes, like it didn't actually break this high, but I did get triggered out. So sometimes like a dark pool print goes off, I just jump right back into it at the same price, just looking for that fade back in. And NVIDIA, again, speaking at that conference, you can see it right there with the breaking news. Thank you for throwing up there, Andre, CFO, saying most chips being shipped are adding new data center infrastructure and not replacing install base. Don't forget, we have earnings from Marvell tonight, and Marvell has a story of its own on an acquisition. So Marvell was already moving before their earnings, if you happen to be watching that particular names. Yeah, so just back into Open, still trying to be patient about the dip in Palantir and or NVIDIA. Well, there's not going to be a dip in Palantir, at least in the short term. You just saw that break another high of the day. NVIDIA is at least consolidating for a potential to break down here. Got a little bull flag action here on NVDA. But just be careful. They're speaking at that conference. So, trade with stops as always, I would say.
Yeah, trade with stops, that is for sure. Don't trade blind. Make sure you got your prices in there properly. Understand what you're doing. And I mean, this is why I'm sort of sitting here doing what I'm doing, and that is trying to watch out for, of course, Tesla. And, you know, it makes a move back up into 340.50. So we take another piece out right there on TSLA as it's, I'm going to take, like I want to wait to let this mature up back to where we were previously. I just don't know if that's going to hit for us right now. So we'll wait, see if it does. Hopefully we do get that movement higher, but another out there. We just bounced again off that 430.75 area. I'm going to put an offer there and then just try to hold that last 20%. So we'll put an offer in the 60s, see if we're able to do that. I think we will be able to get that price and then hold the rest. And if not, we came close to getting stopped out. We've already used that wick as our stop out before, 428.50. We actually discussed this in the pre-market. So that's what we're doing there for Tesla. If that does come back in, another good out, just getting out of that. As I told you, we'll hold that 20% and see where we go from here. All right, so Robinhood, kind of choppy off the open. You know, would obviously like this name to trend one way or the other, and here it maybe goes right now. We can always check back. I always want to look at SoFi as well. And on my note, we have NVIDIA, Palantir, Tesla, and Opendoors. So Opendoors not really doing anything right now, and Neil's in it, so we'll monitor that as that happens. SoFi, boom. There it goes, man. Another big move there for SoFi. If anything, I'm kind of thinking right now that the market may have topped. I could see myself potentially shorting in and around here somewhere, 55.50 or so, if the TQs comes back in. I mean, a lot of these names were really excited early. We'll just see if that excitement continues here into the open. I mean, it's 9:50 now. We've been 20 minutes, and the market wants to still stay high. So nice movement now, northbound on the market, but some of these names are pulling back in, including our Tesla. Remember where we're getting stopped out at, man, 428.50.
And shout out to Beta Pro by Globex, everybody, because if you're looking for exciting news out of Canada and you're a sophisticated trader, well, this is it for you. Beta Pro is offering the largest provider of leverage, inverse and inverse leverage ETFs, and they've launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs, 3x bull, 3x bear exposure to both the TSX and S&P 60, semis, and U.S. Treasuries. Also on top of that, they're offering a special fee rebate. Management fees are going down to 65 basis points until the end of this year, December 31st, everybody. And the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging for you. That way you get more pure performance and exposure. So if you are a tactical, sophisticated trader and you're looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca 3x daily. Shout out to them. So look, the market's at pretty much still at those highs. No retest here in VWAP yet of NVIDIA, although it seems like, I don't want to say rolling over, that's the wrong word, maybe consolidating and trying to head a bit lower highs going into at least this 185 retest. I still think you can break down and give us a volume weighted average price. Open door, kind of got like a bad wick out. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It didn't happen. I said always trade with stop orders, but sometimes with a stop order, you do get a bad trigger. I think I got one. But it's back through VWAP, looking for the low of the day, 16s, and then yesterday's low at 7. Remember, open door and $7. Even Mitch said this, $7 bin support for open door. So I want to take it out to 7, expect a bit of a bounce there, and then a potential reload off of that level. So that and Palantir. And Palantir still looking pretty strong, although it just tagged 175, and it's making its first potential dip to the volume weighted average price. Yeah, up to 170 to 175, almost clean there for Palantir. What I can do is maybe even draw. We're now on a 3-minute. It's got a little trend line it's respecting, and I want there to be some actual contacts on there. So I suppose with a 175 hold, if it holds this trend line, it could be worth a scalp into that range high. But let's see it close on the 3-minute and show some strength. Apple, Palantir, the market, everything looking very, very strong so far here today. Bitcoin over 89 as well. Be careful with 90.
Yeah, we really love that Palantir, man. We got filled there at 175. So what a trade Palantir's been for the last 3 or 4 years, man, as we just take some more profit out on that name and So far, so good there. But there goes crypto. Yeah, 89. So we can have a quick look there. ETHU, I believe we had that talk there with Mitch. And yeah, it's starting to go for sure. Not crazy or anything like that, but, you know, 52.50 up to, yeah, 54.50 was a great move there. But now coming back in. So hopefully there was some profit taken. The spread is what it is on this, which is pretty aggressive, 3 or 4 cents. I think you can probably trade with that, but make sure you do have your stops out as the market is pulling right now back to the downside. So there it goes, man. Tesla's still a banger, man. Good move there for Tesla. Like I said, it'll be PL1 for me, but it does just give it up there. We don't have to worry. And I was just saying, like, what about the market short? We probably should have considered that as well. NVIDIA pulling back a little bit there. That market short was probably the right call, but you know, we'll wait to buy strong names if they ever do come back in, and one of those is NVIDIA, and it is trying to come back in just a little bit here. So good on you if you're able to catch some of those shorts, but I'm looking for the long in these positions. Let's go over to Adara. What's up over there?
An update from NVIDIA. So just want to clarify, NVIDIA is at that NeurIPS conference. That's all week, but they're also at the UBS Tech Conference today. So it's 2 separate conferences. Again, we're currently seeing comments from that UBS conference. Most recent one from NVIDIA CFO Colette Kress is that the data center infrastructure could be reaching $3 to $4 trillion by 2030. So again, CFO of NVIDIA guiding $3 to $4 trillion in data infrastructure by 2030. It's unclear the scope of this, like if this is for the company or just for the world at large, but either way, strong data center infrastructure guidance here from NVDA CFO. Back to you.
Yeah, why not just be at 2 conferences at once? You're NVIDIA, you can do whatever you want to do. But here comes in trend. Oh, come on. Now I doubled that up. So held the trend line there on Palantir. So this is going to be join the trend if we can't get VWAP. Is basically going to be the play for me. Try to catch it over 174. Still have a rule of the prior bar will be my out, so my stop is in. But just looking to buy on this candle to play into 175 for a potential break here on Palantir. While that happened, Open Door caught a bit of a bid off of the lows. I still have my $7 bid in there, but it caught a bid back through 720. Kind of saw that when it was at 18. Someone just stacked it at 18, so I just kind of hit 19s. I'm going to reshort that one in front of that 730 area. So still trying to get into Palantir. I see a few people that had put in Robinhood, as that is a big one. Obviously, with crypto breaking, with Bitcoin breaking 89,000, you have now Robinhood breaking high of the day. So yeah, the recovery, very, very good in crypto land. Robinhood leading the way here, at least off the stocks that I've been watching. NVIDIA headlines are kind of coming through on our ear. Thank goodness that we have Adara to keep them. Like, you can't even keep them in your head because you have comments coming from both these conferences. If we see anything material, we'll let you guys know.
All right. Right now, Apple, you know, we just new position. That's why we hit this. I don't know how long it's going to be there for, though. 283.50 dropping out, and we are gone on Apple. So we did get a little bit out there. We were long at O's, which were long at 06s right there, and we were able to get some out in the 30s, 20s, and 30s. So here comes. So I'm getting out on a 283.50 break. So if Apple does wind up taking that out, then we're gone there on Apple. Don't want to sit around for a long time. I was even saying that maybe the futures had found its way the other way right now, and it looks like Apple may be ticking just that little bit lower. Look, we're long at 83s. I mean, if we wind up losing, here it comes. If we wind up losing 30 cents, there it is, goes downside. So the stop out, I think it was 45s there. Yeah, so we do wind up getting a little bit of a hit, and there it goes, man. Flush down Apple down to the downside right there. We may have just, I don't want to get like right back into this name, but I still like it, and it's been relatively strong, but I wonder if the market is finally starting to give up just a little bit right now on Apple. We didn't really lose, well, we lost on it for sure, but we didn't lose that much. So I'm looking to get a little bit back in, but just looking at the charts, like that 200 period might have to be something we look at, which is down there at 83. So if I like the stock, I should be buying it now. We just, again, a 30-cent hit is nothing really. I'm gonna buy some 50s here again, just to see about that 282, basically 283. So 282.80. So we'll buy a small piece here, see if it can, you know, get going a little bit. I will average it back in around, you know, this little dip buy opportunity around 83, and then drop it if it breaks 82.80 again. So we'll sit here and test out our luck a little bit more on Apple. So, you know, winner on Tesla, winner on VCIG, loser right there on Apple. So let's see if we are catching a falling knife or what here, because the futures aren't doing too much. So let's just see if Apple can get going there back to the upside.
Yeah, speaking of back to the upside, you know, Palantir is about to break, well, it's about to test 175, retest of 175. There was a hold of the trend line. I was like, well, how are we going to get into Palantir? Well, you can wait for a break of the trend to go short, but if you're not looking to go short, then go long on the trend line. So that's what I'm doing. But as it goes higher, I'm going to manually, like I'm going to get out in front of 75 and take a 75 break. But I'm also going to have to manually move my stop every single prior bar that we get. So every time we get another bar in there, I'm moving my stop order on Palantir. NVIDIA, at the same time that dipped in, NVIDIA came to VWAP, the volume weighted average price, and quick bounce. 184.20. I got in when it retook this prior bar low close, which was about 50, so I got 60s. Gonna try to play this one back into the high, but look at them sell it off already. So it got to 184, like 90 something, and then immediately, like the sellers just quickly jumped into that one. So I'm gonna try to get 85s and 85.5. There goes Palantir. It just broke. Okay, so here, I'm flipping back to Palantir. Had it up on another level too, as I got the fill. It'll look hilarious because I got the fill in front of 75 to get out of the first long, and then in the same couple of seconds, we took the breakout long at 04. So that's two separate trades. The dip buy on trend is going to be one, and then the breakout trade just joined the party. I still think there's room to 176. Pull out a 15-minute chart, and you'll find 176 is a bit of resistance there for PLTR. So let's see how far this one can go. Nasdaq strong, market strong. Yeah, I'm in favor of the long for now.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but I might be in the wrong stock. We still favor Apple long. We're long right here at 40s. We didn't get that dip down into 283. It actually came into 07 or something like that. We're actually at 02, so we are waiting just for a little bit more right there. So we'll have to wait to see if we're able to get some of those fills on Apple. Looking for higher on this, that is for sure. 10 o'clock. Do we have any numbers coming through at 10 o'clock?
Construction spending, I think.
Today, construction spending, okay. So we can go to Adair if there's anything important coming through for those numbers, but or otherwise I'll just drop them for you guys very, very soon. With right now, there it is. So the 10 o'clock number, if there is one, is out. It doesn't seem to be doing too much now to the market, so I'm not hearing anything at all. So no numbers there today, apparently. So we'll just wait and see what happens now as Apple trying to go. We're long at 40s. You know, first call there, that's 50s. We're not looking at that. You know, that's 80s or 90s. So I think upside for Apple right now is probably the play for me that I'm going to hold on to and see if we can just extend out a little bit here on Apple. There is no JOLTS job openings, we just heard in our ear, confirmed by Adara as well. But okay, here goes Apple. You know what? I'm going to take a little piece out here at 53, just making back a little bit of what we lost. There it goes, man. Apple now starting to go back up the upside. So we got a bunch of longs over there. NVIDIA, I'm sure, is popping. There goes the market right now. So good trade over there. We've got long NVIDIA, long Palantir, long Apple right now. Go Apple. Nice move off that low there. So nice little dip buy opportunity there for Apple as that is finally starting to go. So short open door, long NVIDIA, long Palantir, long Apple. Right now we're cruising here. So far, so good. What's up, Adara?
No economic data numbers on the docket today, as I mentioned earlier. At 10:10, there's this economic optimism index. This is not a number that usually moves the market. If there is anything of note, I'll keep you guys posted. But all in all, a quiet day for economic data, though, at 10 a.m. So now we do have comments from Fed's Bowman. She will be testifying for the House Financial Services Committee. I have that in my ear. I will keep you guys posted if there's anything of note said during that testimony. Let's talk about this market, which is certainly pushing higher. Great look here to start this Tuesday. Lots of earnings on tap after the bell, including Marvell, CrowdStrike, and American Eagle. And today, some strong earnings moves, most notably from MongoDB. Let's talk about NVDA. NVIDIA, a couple different conference appearances, including at the UBS Global Technology and AI Conference, where CFO Colette Kress has been speaking. One notable thing she did say as of late is that apparently NVIDIA still has not completed a definitive agreement with OpenAI. So that is of note, which means that a lot of their revenue guidance, basically what she was saying, is not even factoring in their OpenAI deal. So that's significant. Let's talk here about Bitcoin. And MSTR in particular, this name pretty strong actually, following a lot of weakness yesterday, though again, a lot of these names did recover. Bitcoin trying to rebound. Let's see if MSTR and other crypto stocks can do the same. We know the status of MSTR's Bitcoin is on watch as of right now. Let's talk here about Boeing, BA, different conference here, Boeing CFO at the UBS Industrials Conference, where they say that they actually see an increase here in their 737 and 787 deliveries in 2026 compared to 2025. So year-over-year growth guided for these deliveries. Good look for BA, which continues to make highs of day. Before we send you back to the guys, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. We come back to Apple dancing now. There it goes, man, shooting right back there to the upside. So we make back what we lost, and now we'll wait to see where it goes from here as we just kind of take a deep breath and watch out to see what's going on here with Apple and the moves higher there. So, yeah, I guess you got out of some positions if you want to talk about those, but I'm just on the
very
same
quickly,
one.
I always start with, whatever. You start with the one that broke out. Actually, it didn't really break out. Another wick. A wick out by 1 cent on open door. Got the right level on this stock, but as long as it puts in higher lows and higher highs, it's kind of channeling back into the upside. I'll go to Palantir in a quick second, but we took NVIDIA from VWAP to the high. It rejected the high again. Those wicks. It looks like we're, again, rejecting 185.5 and pulling. If we pull back into VWAP, I think that's the place to go to look for another potential bid. Palantir, so on trend was better than the breakout, is what I will tell you. So buying it on the trend line, right now, that's going to end up being very close to the 75 even. So if we lose the 75 even, we're potentially breaking this trend here. And then I wait for the volume weighted average price. So Palantir has been better on the trend line than it was on that flat top break at 175 bucks. And just to go over, I know we haven't talked a lot of crypto, and apologies for that. We're literally at 90,000 right now in Bitcoin. So 89,962. I think we just top wicked 90,000. Yeah, we just hit 90,000 again. So about 5110 on IBIT is going to be that 90,000 level. This would be the spot to, at least where I would look for a reversion. If we get any kind of a reversal, then I'm going to the place that I went yesterday, which is not Bitcoin for shorts. It'll be BMNR. So I'm going to add this one to the list. If I see a rejection candle and a break of trend, it's not Bitcoin I'd rather short. I'd rather play BMNR. It was down 10% or 11, or whatever the heck it was yesterday. I think it was more than 10%. Now up 10% BMNR. See, you get outsized moves in either direction for this. Can't really call it a stock. You can't really call these guys stocks, right? Like it's glorified ETF.
Yeah, I mean,
Technically they're stocks, but
pretty much is an ETF, I would say. What is MSTR doing? I mean, it's very, very similar.
Better
here.
be Moon otherwise.
Yeah, it's up 6%, so that's really nice. There's 90,000, by the way, on Bitcoin. So we'll go bang, 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 and we'll say awesome for anybody that was able to pick something up lower. And like we had said yesterday, looking at lower levels. But if you didn't dip by the most recent one there in Bitcoin, then you're just holding what you got. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're thinking about longer term, we talked about some of the moves that are possible here in BTC. There's the play down to 70,000. That would be sort of the next area there. We talked about 70,000 yesterday. And then now's the move back through 90. So, hey, I mean, if you could have had that crystal ball a couple years ago and said Bitcoin 90,000, you're probably pretty happy with it. But right now, it does have the feel of downside momentum. So it's really nice that we've been able to cover up sort of that big move yesterday right now today. So up to 91,000 would be real nice. I think like a break in and around here is kind of, that's actually 100 again. So, that would be nice. That's where the 50-period moving average is on BTC. So definitely worth a look over there. So this is still in $1 with Apple. I like that Palantir. And we also did have Tesla trade earlier, which we're still up on. Like, unfortunately, there's that 428, 427 area that came right in, and we actually talked about that level before, but we didn't really do anything on it because I was waiting for just a little bit lower in there around that 426 area to dip by. But again, we made some money on it. We're 3 for 3 today with our net on the stocks. We lost on this first Apple idea, but made it back right there to get green there. And then VCIG was a banger right there off the open. Then Tesla was great. You know, to be honest with you, we did hold, I don't think it was even 20%. Maybe it was 20%. VCIG was 20%. This probably was as well back in. So a quick little dollar loser there, but then $3 or $4 winner there to the upside. You got to cash out when trades go in the favor for you. Or else you hold the bag, which we kind of did right there. And unfortunately got out where we did. You know, we did ring the register on our personal account a little bit at 175 on Palantir, so really happy with that movement. Hopefully the next time we'll be able to do something is around 190 there. Again, PayPal, DraftKings. We did have some stories on Shopify, of course, earlier.
Yesterday's outage.
You know, that's up now 5%, so we triggered into that trade for you guys earlier. Well, I'm not triggered in, but we brought it to your attention there as Shopify battling back there today after that outage yesterday. But here goes Apple. Just keep going, man. If we can, what about here? 60s or 70s? You know, it's because we're at 50s. We'll always take something out around here. So we'll go 54. There it is. Just instantly gotten that out. And bye-bye, ciao. There goes Apple, man. It'll be a 3 for 3 day over on this side. Neil's been putting up some numbers as well. So, you know, congratulations to everybody. And make sure you watch us. We're live now every day at 8 o'clock. So that's how we got that VCIG trade. And, you know, we're putting on some more right there. There goes Apple's mooning right now, as I'm sure Palantir is as well.
Yeah, Palantir just continues to go higher. CoreWeave, these people in the chat, thank you for putting that $ in there. CoreWeave, a name to watch. If NVIDIA is going to be up 2.8%, then hey, why wouldn't CoreWeave be up 6%? That's going to be a good one. Palantir, another press. It just bounced off 75. So the ad at 174 will be second trade off the 175, continues to hold trend. But I am going to respect the trend line. Like if we break this, I'll jump out. Even if it ends up being, like right now, it'd be about 175 quarter. But I'm just following my rules. Like if I'm joining it on the trend a little bit late, I would say, you could make a really strong argument to have had this here. Maybe like 50 cents better because that was a third contact. Maybe 20, 30 cents better if you're really conservative. But if we break this trend line, I'll jump out. And then we can still look for VWAP on, what the heck, Tesla? On Palantir. So I just looked up and saw this candle on Tesla. So Tesla has now broken out above 434. This is a monster. 433. This would be the, yeah, that's the candle that it takes out this resistance on a 15-minute. That was a time frame that I wanted to see Tesla strong on. We talked about this yesterday, like the level, but it didn't do it. Today, barring some kind of disaster in the next 5 minutes.
Oh my God, Tesla, yeah, wow.
Easily close above the 433. Yeah, it should mean this 15-minute candle is going to close above 433, and then I can look on. Then I can look long there. That's insane. But Palantir briefly broke trend, so I jump out and wait for the next opportunity. So when we got NVIDIA. And hopefully Palantir, for anyone that's still in it, doesn't do what NVIDIA just did. Because NVIDIA went to the high, so it's a reversion, bounce off VWAP to the high, right back at VWAP, while the market's at highs. I don't love that. The market at the high in NVIDIA testing, and very different. This was bouncing clean on VWAP, like bottoming tail candles. Now it's looking a little bit different here for NVIDIA. So glad that we're able to get the VWAP bounce, but that doesn't mean I automatically want to jump in front of this moving freight train. Allow it to settle down here off the volume weighted average price for NVIDIA. So much a market leader, and now Tesla's stronger. So,
guys, we nailed that Tesla trade, but unfortunately we were able to get out of it, but not without taking a little bit of cash on that. But we would have loved, obviously, to still be in this name and printing that cash. But wow, there goes NVDA, just an absolute, or sorry, Tesla, an absolute monster. And Apple's actually, look, we focused on Apple, so, you know, to make the money back here on Apple has been fine. It's going to be a good trade there, but yeah, it is NVDA's, Tesla's world right there, which is crazy. This is, again, we have NVIDIA, Palantir, Tesla, and Opendoor all as longs right there today, and there it goes, man, monster move to the upside. We could check out on Opendoor, not really doing too much there today. Neil was on this name, which was good. Down in there to 714, 715s there for Opendoor. So we'll have a look if that gets a little bit aggressive there back into the downside. But make sure you do hit that like and that subscribe and get involved with us here. And that's part of this. And this is our stock sort of visualizer. We've had this on the board there behind us for a minute. There it is. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Netflix today, this is just a quick little look at some names that you guys have voted for by putting in their $sign and then whatever stock you may want. But Netflix, Robinhood up 4%. We talked about that name's going to go with crypto. Great to see Intel. I'm actually going to log in and get out of some more Intel right there, up another 5%. Wow, that's a double up in the account. So that's a money-making opportunity there as well. MSTR up 6, which is great. I don't know what ABTC is. We could definitely have a quick look. I'm going to pause this for a second so it doesn't do that again. NVIDIA up 2. Love NVIDIA, man. It was the trade of the day on the board there. Neil had that. Beyond Meat, wow, up to 135. A lot of traders want to talk about that one. Tesla, absolute monster, and boy, oh boy, was that a good idea. We actually, written on here, says 429 long. So we had it, but only held it for an amazing 50 cents against us and then got out. But when you're trading bigger, sometimes you got to do that, and you will look back and be upset that you get out, of course. MSTR, SoFi, I mean, a great stock. Love that name for the long term. Meta up 0.3, which is nice. It was getting hit a little bit there in the pre-market. And then the biggest and the baddest of them all, man, Palantir, doing great work there for anybody that is long on PLTR. But all right, man, the momentum continues over here as we continue to watch out for some of these plays coming in, and it's going to be one more time there. Apple now up $1.50 in the money on AAPL, and it's still trying to work. So far so good here. Let's just see if we get some more push to the upside there on Apple. We were wrong early, but we stayed into it, got right back in, found those lows, nailed it off that 50-period moving average. There goes Apple, right back into highs. We did it again right now at $1.55, almost, looking at $2.85. Now I'm going to put another offer at here at 88, get some more out there on Apple. Still got like 30% of this trade. So far so good here on AAPL. Wish we would have got longer though.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get longer in Palantir or back into it. The market's breaking highs. So it broke the trend. I didn't short because I'm not looking short on Palantir today, but I thought that would give us at least a chance to maybe get back to the original entry, 74s or 73.5 at VWAP. When you look at this, it's the 15-minute chart is rather glorious, and now you're well above this 74 area. So like the next available dip is going to still be able to play for us here in PLTR. It's NVIDIA, the other long, that is looking a little bit different, right? Like it just closed under VWAP and kind of opening looking weak. I don't like this long anymore. So it would look good before the first bounce, like first available dip. I think we're able to catch it, but I'm not really liking that, and I'm not really thinking short on NVIDIA either. AMD, however, is even weaker than NVIDIA, even though it's up 1.3%. It's well underneath the volume-weighted average price. So anyone watching these two names, they're still above prior highs, so you can still bounce on a 15-minute or a higher time frame that's going to look good. But just sort of scanning if there's anything that I even like for a reversion short if the futures pull back. Intel's way too strong. Why is Intel up 5%, please?
That's what I was looking at, remember?
Intel back to 52-week highs. I know you were saying like looking for another trim. It's at 42. That is my favorite number in the whole wide world. I think it's, let me zoom back here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing out on something bigger. No, 42 is that level. Go all the way back to April of 2024. Like there's a reason why it was a resistance spot at that 42 level. Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world to trim on Intel. Kind of ear to the ground for a story. It could still just be this Apple thing. Right? Like remember they had on Friday, they were going absolutely ham, possibly making Apple chips. So it could be a continuation of that potentially. But here comes Tesla pulling back in. It closed on the 15 above $433 because it's 10.15 right now. So just looking for any kind of a sign of a bounce, right? Like not standing in front. You saw with NVIDIA how we were able to get in on a 3-minute. It tagged VWAP, the next one held, and then broke that prior bar close and then entered there. So there hasn't been anything like that on a dip for Tesla yet. I stress the yet. It's strong enough that it can pull back into VWAP. It can do the same thing NVIDIA did.
I'm at 90,600 right now as Bitcoin just motors to highs right there. So, you can analyze the charts all you want, but like yesterday's dip buy seems to have been right there on IBIT. It looks like we hold that 50 area pretty decently, and yeah, right back there to the upside. So giving some shout out to Mitch, who was obviously on earlier and talked about ETHU. If you believed in the crypto space, then this would have been obviously a name that you would have got on the back of. And there it goes, ETHU, the 2 times Ethereum ETF. And, you know, really starting to get going here are many of the space, many names in the space. Yesterday we were at 292 there in the market cap as we discussed that live on air, and then right into here 91,000 now for Bitcoin just in the last 24 hours, up 5, right? There goes. So it's up the same as Ethereum. So Ethereum and Bitcoin right now, so whether or not you traded ETHU or BITO or anything that's sort of an extension of Bitcoin, you probably would have been okay. Ripple up 5%. I actually bought more of this at $2, despite what our good friend Kevin O'Leary says. Binance there, Solana, again, nice move up. I mean, there's 8% on Solana. So again, like, just looking at your own accounts, trade them however you want. Some of these, there's 10% in Cardano. So, you know, if I would have taken some advice and got only into Bitcoin and Ethereum, you obviously don't have the upside today that you do in some of these coins, but they get hit a lot more dramatically when crypto is down. But when crypto is up, boy, oh boy, do those names really start to fly. So big, you know, really happy to be a holder there of Cardano, and those names today, but not long term, does not look greatest on that one. But there's $1.70 now in the money on Apple. So, you know, huge play there for me today. Apple, really starting to get back into it. It's too bad because Tesla's still going to be my P&L #1 despite getting stopped out right there. But Apple's trying to go VCIG, you know, not as many shares, obviously, because it's a pre-market trade, but that will round up what I've been doing today. VCIG, Apple, and Tesla. So it's those 3 names, and we'll go 3 for 3. So all 3 names, all 3 P&L greens. So, you know, that's always a pretty decent day when that winds up happening. And by the way, there goes Apple again, now almost $2 in as we get above 285 right now. For the monster, that is Apple. Thanks for watching. Let's go over to Adara and figure out what she's up to.
What's up here is Oscar. OSCR in the news. I'm seeing some reports suggesting that House Republicans are poised to make a short-term extension of these expiring ACA subsidies. So if the ACA subsidies get extended, good luck here for names like OSCR. UNH would be another name to watch on this, but OSCR by far the most volatile and retail heavy. Back to you.
Yeah, well, crazy action the last couple of days in all of those, like up and down and around. Oscar, UNH are moving as well. But I said I was going to go over to Tilray after the opening rush. So Tilray, a reverse split. So it was 78 cents, 780. It's obviously going to be in the red right now. Love how we still got some 3% to the downside, but just waiting for an entry. I want to be short the stock. Didn't get to $8.50. So there's a trend break. Once I saw, hey, this is a broken trend, which is a setup that I like. Go over the prior bar exit. So my stop is going to be the prior bar. Well, so this is where it breaks trend. The prior bar is going to be here. So about 670-ish. Is the stop here on Tilray, and then just going to look for it to come back into the low of the day. So it gave me a setup, finally gave me an entry point on Tilray. NVIDIA still, I don't know, man. NVIDIA's still not looking it's not looking like a long much anymore. So yeah, I feel like that one might be getting away from us. And then the same thing with Palantir. Now, I showed you, like, this was the trend line that got me out of Palantir. Now it's pulling right back into the volume-weighted average price. So the new position for me, something that's set up, is going to be Tilray, of course, with the reverse split. But the market pulling back a little bit here. NVIDIA, part of the story. Palantir, part of the story. Even Tesla starting to pull back as well. Adara?
Let's start with Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat, of course, this one has about a 21.5% short float. No news on this, but lots of retail attention. Coming off a not so great earnings report now, like a month ago. It's crazy how time flies. But either way here, BYND on watch with no catalyst. PLRZ, on the other hand, actually does have a catalyst and a pretty notable float. We're talking around 6 million shares, so pretty small float. This one's already halted a couple times. And they announced that they have completed a manufacturing upscaling milestone for their proprietary nasal spray platform. So good look there for PLRZ, Polyhorizon. That one, much like Beyond Meat, has rallied in the past. And our last name has rallied in the past as well, FTEL. In fact, guys, it actually rallied yesterday. FTEL yesterday announces a $3 million share repurchase program, which causes the stock to pop. We've got a $3 million market cap here and a 330,000 share float. So pretty small float there for FTEL. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at BTCC because, guys, I just found something crazy. I'm digging into exchanges and I stumbled across BTCC. Top 30 globally, but here's the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked. While major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched. Zero KYC if you're in the US, Canada, or Europe, and through Trader TV, you get 100 USDT coupons for registering, plus a 15% bonus thing that covers losses for up to 15K USDT. Seriously, what am I missing here? Scan that QR code for more info and back to Sean and Neil.
All right, thanks, Adara. Yeah, that ABTC there is this American Bitcoin Corporation, and of course this is the Trump run. I think it's Eric that was posting some videos the other day about him walking through, and it's a pretty impressive facility if that's exactly what that was. And they're using Hut 8. I saw some of those miners being set up there and all those systems. So, you know, Hut 8, maybe we talked about this with Kevin yesterday, the picks and shovels, you know, could be part of the story there. But I don't know what the individual story is. Is there an individual story with Hut 8 today, Adara? Because
I've been looking and I can't find anything yet.
Bizarre.
Okay, yeah, so down 10% there. Maybe that's an Eric W. Jackson flush out there. I don't know if he's gotten out of that or what, but there it is, man. Breaking through $40 creates this big volume
He said
spike.
it was more than just a Bitcoin play.
Yep. So he was
hoping it was a Bitcoin play today.
Yeah, we talked about this. I mean, when it came out, it was like $48, $49, and I remember buying it that day, and we had a nice little run up as we played the momentum in the stock, but you can see momentum fading quite nicely on that one for sure. Apple's still going though, so we're gonna watch out. I mean, we just took out the highs right there, so this name just will not slow down there. Apple. Monster move. Now $2 in the money, man. We took like $4 or $5 on, or $3 or $4, I guess, on this Tesla trade right there, and it just bounced off VWAP pretty clean. We should have been there for that, and we weren't. So my bad on that one. We should have bought some more Tesla down there. VCIG is the other stock for me today, and then Open Door as well. So, you know, 3 for 3 here. And looking for some more. So if there's anything else, you know, yeah, I told you Apple long. Yeah, I hope that, what's up, the Hog Rider there. Yeah, man, I don't know who you told, but probably the chat. And there it goes. Nice upside play. We've got it in our blotters right there. So nice move up there for Apple. We just took some out at 285. These are brand new all-time highs. So there's really just smooth sailing here moving forward. So all good. What's up, Majid there? Yeah, I did. Thank you for that. I mean, I really do appreciate, you know, at least when we got out of Tesla, we were able to find our way into Apple, or else I would be sick. But, you know, so far so good. You gotta take money when it's there, and then follow your rules. And I do this all the time. You know, we had big trades yesterday. Yesterday's trading day was huge, and it was such a great opportunity to come back here today and trade it one more time. So here we go. We'll get some more Apple out now. Apple and Bitcoin, everything seems to be ripping to the high side today. The Nasdaq's up that 1%. Bye-bye Apple. Another out rate there, just ticking over $2 as it just continues to get going, man. Apple, Mara, Coinbase, like some of these names are being lifted here by Bitcoin for sure. And I said that to Sharif when I sat down. I was like, I really just check Bitcoin now in the morning. If Bitcoin's up, then you know my bias is going to be long. And today we have all 4 longs written on here, and we're 3 for 3. So, you know, we got to be happy with our progress today, some of the work that we put in, the due diligence in finding these trades, and it's been a good one here today as far as those trades are concerned.
Yeah, so I showed you guys what the plan of action was going to be specifically on Tesla at VWAP, what it was on NVIDIA. So this is NVIDIA, goes to tag VWAP, hits VWAP, breaks that prior bar, then you want to get in long there. So that's the plan. Pretty much, it's almost the same thing on Tesla, except Tesla moves a little bit faster. So when Tesla gave you the long here, it's like 44.32, like 70 or so. Right in there. I didn't catch it until 33 on the next candle. Didn't want to chase the move all the way into potential resistance at 34. So following my rule, I get it here, take some out at that 34, and then if we lose that $0.50, I want to jump out because that's the play. Allow it to bounce. Like I prefer not to like assume that we're going to bounce off VWAP, allow it to show the bounce, and then get in somewhere in this range to look for the play in a bit higher. So the stop is going to be under this prior bar at the $0.50, so I can quickly show you the reason to get in, reason to get out. Look, that'll end up being a flat trade, but I want to make sure, like, that's exactly the same pattern of action that I'm looking for on NVIDIA. And with Tesla, I would take that out take it at first resistance and then take it at the high of the day as well. I know we're going to go back over to Adair in a quick second, but I did want to jump over before we do. Palantir is also at the volume weighted average price. Oh, sorry. We're going to go to my left. Palantir also trying to bounce off VWAP. Want to look for the same pattern. Show me that you're actually holding the volume weighted average price and then jump in.
All right, guys. For too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what keeping so many traders on the sideline. But guess what? That is, of course, changing. And Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets with its limited risk trading model. Traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on, of course, what truly matters. That is discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit your profit targets, you do keep 70% of those profits. There's no fears, no barriers, just opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading. And of course, it's powered by Trade the Pool. You can scan that QR code and grab 10% off. Let them know you're coming from Trader TV. And yeah, so thank you to Trade the Pool and to Mitch for coming through one more time. That's too bad, man. We just missed a much bigger trade there on Apple earlier. Oh man, we were trying to, we were just down there. We missed it by like 5 cents or so, a much, much bigger one. But there it is now, $2 and growing upside right there today. So yeah, man, this is live trading. We want to welcome everybody into the show. Neil and I will put on positions. And of course, you can ask us at any time about any of the trades we've had on. We actually show them right here on our screen. So, we're comfortable doing that. We've been trading here for a minute. And it's a good one, 10:30. We are off at 11, and then it goes over to Sharif and Joe for just more commentary on the market, and then we're back again at 2. So it's 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily, and it's your one source, only source needed for trading. It's Trader TV Live. You're now rocking with the best. All right, more outs there on Apple, and we're going to go over there and figure out. Oh, farewell to you too, Majid there. We will see you at 2 p.m. Thank you for joining us, and make sure you do hit that like and that subscribe. And look what just happened to Apple. Whoops, we just got a piece out there. We're getting less and less on this. We have way less than 10% right now on this trade, but we're going to watch out for Apple on a move down. And Dara, what up over there?
I have OKLO, guys. Oklo on watch. Forbes issuing an article during which it says Oklo is a bubble and the nuclear renaissance is real, but Oklo is the wrong vehicle. So Forbes, pretty negative here on OKLO. Back to Sean and Neil.
I'm going to buy Tesla down here.
You can't call Oklo a bubble. Like, it's 2-0 to be a bubble. Like, I don't know. Usually a bubble.
Neil, Oklo's a bubble, okay?
It's just a weird thing. Like, everybody already knows they don't make any money.
I don't know.
No, just very quickly, I wanted to show you. Look at the. This is why you have rules. Like, the reason I'm getting in, do I want my stop at VWAP, or in this particular case, do I want to put it at that prior bar open and close? So Tesla, the second it took that down technically, Dumpsville. And at the same time, NVIDIA lost a bid. Palantir is not going to hold VWAP either. So NVIDIA starting to lose a bid a little bit more. Palantir, well, who's that idiot that said don't short that trend break? The thing is, actually, the reason I don't short trend breaks on Palantir is I find on the strong Palantir days, and at least to my research this year, it doesn't work very well shorting the trend break usually in Palantir. So I just don't do it. I'll get out of the long, but I don't actually reverse this one into the short. It obviously works today to make me sound stupid, but ultimately, if it doesn't work on a particular stock, a strategy that you like, then you don't have to do it. So that's the way I'm going to play with it on PLTR. Looking a little bit weak. The future is just tag VWAP as well, though.
There's Tesla. So here we go, man. We're now in the money, another 50 cents right there as we buy that dip on Tesla. And there we go, right back there to the upside. So yeah, man. Good movement there on TSLA, needless to say, as we make our move back up on that. And we're just trying to, I don't know what that dump was all about right there. Happened across every single name. So I saw Apple make that move down. We'll buy some Tesla and get some out. I don't know. That there was something that hit the wire there that we just didn't confirm or anything. But I don't know, Apple. We could check out what's going on with Google. Google's another name that I want to buy, but not until we get a little closer to 3 bills. Let's see if that had a similar move. Yes, it did. So I think someone just maybe either got out of all their some baskets here or what. But no, I mean, Meta didn't make that reaction. So we could see if AMD or anything like that. We just had to, okay, well, they're starting to fall back in as well. So some of these names continue to be a little topsy-turvy here into what is going to be, hopefully, a pretty steady day, right? I mean, the Nasdaq now is just bouncing there into VWAP. So maybe we get a little bit of a hold now in that space, but that would be nice. The market just came right into there and was able to hold. So we'll see if that can hold again as we just sit on our Tesla bag here a little bit as it's starting to move back in. So we did take some outs there. We actually only have half left, excuse me, as we will wait for that move and then try to get a little bit more at 428 and then watch out for that bottom break of 427. You know, obviously something has hit, I think, right now. I'm actually going to just, even though Apple's not really down that much, I'm going to take a piece out here again in the 80s if we can on, maybe we can't even do that. I'll offer some 74s here on Apple, see if that will wind, there it is. So that winds up coming out again. So just getting some out here as we wonder what's up. And yeah, that top on the futures, man, we had mentioned shorting that and never did it. So too bad. There's the move back into VWAP, but I am expecting a bounce now on the futures. So, you know, we are getting that, but obviously story related there. I mean, a huge spike to the downside there on the overall market and individual stocks.
I have not seen anything as of yet, and I have scoured thoroughly. If anything comes up, I'll let you know. But I'm also listening to this testimony with Michelle Bowman, who is a Fed member. Nothing from that either.
Okay, yeah, that's all good. I mean, maybe it's nothing. Who knows? But I mean, I'm just sitting still here in Tesla waiting. So, you know, maybe there's going to be some sort of a move here that we can have back to the upside. Otherwise, we'll just trade light on this trend and, you know, a little lighter on the share size right now until we get a more convincing move one way or the other. And then Palantir, you know, out, even though it's a long-term account, we talked about that, out some more at 175 on that break higher today in the account. So that was a good trade there so far. But yeah, we'll just wait on Tesla, man, see if we can have another banger over here. So yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, I agreed. Again, even if there wasn't a specific reason for that drop in the market, it still happened. I mean, Broadcom at the low of the day. So I'm just looking at what's relatively weak and strong as, wow, we're going to go back to the breakout price on NVIDIA. So it looks like we are trending back into where it broke out at 182.5. That's going to be the next spot to look for, like somewhere into that opening range for a bounce, or maybe Palantir gets there first. Although Palantir is not going to get there first. Maybe Palantir gets off to 172. So the first dip at the open was 172 on Palantir. That's the next place I would look for potential scalp long. And then guess what? It doesn't have to be a story, but the market just pulled back and Intel naturally just made a fresh high. 7%, no trouble with 42, just powering through at this point. So Intel just made another a new 52-week high, I believe. Well, last time I checked, above 42.5 is going to be a 52-week high for Intel. So this one is definitely turning. It does not care whatsoever about the market. I feel like I'm trading a little bit blind on that one. I don't get why it's so strong there with Intel. So glad I'm not shorted, but I'm looking for either re-entry in a Palantir and NVIDIA, just sticking with the two names that we liked originally. And so either we get down to 182.5, look for a trend break, or Palantir 172. As we have a super chat. Oh no, sorry, just a question.
Yeah, just a question here. I mean, it's directed at me, but we can both answer this one. Yeah, it's just, you know, cut your losses on Beyond Meat. I mean, I'm not sure, you know, the benefit of cutting losses, especially at this time of year, you know, you can have some tax savings there if you have other winners, and you could sort of write off the loss potentially. Wow, go Tesla. Tesla's still trying to go higher there. Cut the loss on this trade and then work on other trades. I think, yeah. Honestly, if you're in this spot, and again, we just talk about, you know, our own trading and things like that around here, but, you know, underneath this 50-period moving average, I don't mind if you want to hold it a little bit more, but, you know, we were just down just a couple, this is a daily chart, right? This is just a week ago. You were down at 90 cents, 70 cents, and maybe even going lower. So you've almost doubled up to that, back up to 130. I don't want to look that gift horse in the mouth, right? I think that's a good opportunity. We've only really broken through, I mean, unless you want to go all the way back, that's last year, right here when we were up to $6, $7. This was, here's the 50 period there, came right back in. And what I was getting at was we have had an opportunity for this thing to go back to the upside. But the 50 period moving average, you know, respected there, all of a sudden blasted through, and we spent 3 or 4 days above the 50 period moving average on the daily. And now you're just right back underneath it. Even if you spend a little bit above, I think it maybe gets to $2. That may be something like your high. So I think there's some sort of a benefit there to cut some losses and maybe use it as a taxable write-off against your gains. So your losses against your gains there could be something. So Tesla does not break that 344, 30, 50, which of course is where I can't make this stuff up. Like I'm sitting there and it goes to 45 and then drops $1. So you're gonna have to wait out for this. The market, I was looking at the TQs actually, which is what you guys caught me on before that. And thank you so much for that Beyond Meat. I actually asked the question if anybody in there is a Green, what's going on with your positions today? I hope you guys are all doing well, of course, as we watch out for these markets to continue to move around. But TQs was almost there, man, at that 200 period moving average. So that was another name that I wanted to bring some attention to anyways here on the TQQ front, that we just hit the 200 period and got a little distracted. But here goes Tesla. Let me take another piece out right here at 18 if we can do that. And then we'll wait to see if we get that 50 level there. So 430 50s. We're going to change it to 430 40s and see if we can get that. But right now, Tesla, there's another out for us. So far, so good here as we continue to run the same stocks and continue to do quite well. So it's 10:37. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe. And we're back at 2, and the other boys are here from 11 to 1. So that should be a lot of fun. And we'll discuss what's for lunch momentarily.
Yeah, as we always do. But yeah, it's not going to be Palantir longs at this rate. It just can't seem to really catch any kind of a curl or a bid just yet. So Palantir continuing, it's still on a downward trend. What are you going to do? It hasn't gotten to 172 yet. I think if you lose that, you're waiting for 170 even. But I did see, at least when you were pulling up Beyond Meat, I was able, and you can eyeball this one, but you know, from the pre-market, Beyond Meat, bit of a double bottom or whatever you want to call that here at $1.28, and even this is trying a bit of a trend break. I might, yeah, maybe Beyond Meat for a bit of a trend break. As Palantir not setting up yet, neither is NVIDIA. So might look over to this for a quick little scalp trade. Like if you can get this back into VWAP or at least yesterday's highs, that'll be plenty good for BYND. And Abomar in the chat, what is up with Intel? You're not the only person that's asking this question. Intel absolutely on one. Remember, it's not a small deal for, like I know the news on Friday was gigantic, right? So with Apple, and then potentially making some of Apple's chips, not all. That's a really big customer. And this is pretty much exactly what everybody's been waiting for Intel. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal for them. And maybe yesterday was just like a timeout of consolidation, and then now we're just resuming the rally on that. So Intel closing above 42.5. There's not, look, what's standing in between its way and like $50, which is going back to like last year's highs, I think right at the beginning of the year. So I don't see anything that's wrong with this on Intel, except it just kind of caught everyone off guard. And sometimes that can be the best long because it caught people off guard today. After yesterday, I would never have guessed this would be up 6.5%. Just didn't have the strength. And meanwhile, NVIDIA is still pulling back. This can't break trend either. So from the high, we're able to get out. It's now holding the downtrend line. Don't want to be short, so I have to wait for this one to break this trend back to the upside, and then we're possibly taking this and or Palantir, which is trying to do the same thing. We're going to go to Adara for Sector Watch in just a little bit, and that's where we'll get to see how things other than the chips are doing, because it's been all tech so far this morning. No? Oh, okay, maybe we'll give it a second.
All right, here goes. We'll go awesome on this one, man. Back to trading right now as Tesla starting to go. So we actually get that 40 fill, and here we go again. It's another dollar right there. Shout out to Ozan and everybody watching right now. There it goes. I'll get an out at 75. Why not? As we continue to get a little bit higher. I was waiting at 31s, but I'll just cancel that. It will take it anyways. Huge move now. Apple $2, Tesla another $1. We'll put 350 right now now in the account on these two trades, and just continue to go, man. That's 433, 430, what is that, 431? I mean, we should get something out in here, 431.50, okay. If we can get back up into there, we'll take it out. Let's go to 20s first, and then we'll see if we can get a little bit higher on all of this. But there it goes again, man. Big time movement for Tesla, big time movement for Apple as we enjoy. Look what Apple's doing right now. I mean, go follow me, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of these trades over on X as we just continue to pump forward here, man. $3, $2.50, sorry, in the money on Apple, $1.40 in the money on Tesla. Neil and Tilray, Neil and NVIDIA, Adara back over at the desk.
As Neil and Sean have alluded to here, the strength is in tech and really not anywhere else. I mean, Intel really strong here as well, in addition to, of course, ongoing excitement with the reported Apple processor involvement. We also have the Malaysian Prime Minister saying that Intel's going to invest another 200 million USD into the country. So nice look there. Boeing also up quite significantly, up nearly 10% for BA. 10% in count, or 9% in counting here, as BA CFO does appear at a conference and talks a lot about year-over-year growth in terms of their 737 and 787 deliveries. Let's talk here about tech services, also pretty strong with the exception of Netflix. But then we have to talk about everything else, which is quite weak. PG leading an altogether red consumer non-durable sector, utilities right across the board. Energy minerals quite weak here. Consumer services, with the notable exception of Booking Holdings, is all to the downside. Same with industrial services, communications, and non-energy minerals. Health tech, still a little bit of a bright spot here. Eli Lilly up nearly 1% and still above that $1,000 level. Producer manufacturing, which again has some tech and AI connections, notably names like AMAT and LRCX, also strong today. Make sure to like and subscribe as we send you back to Sean and Neil.
Thank you very much, Sarah Dare. Well, NVIDIA broke trend. So did Palantir, but only got one of them. Got NVIDIA breaking the trend. It happened at exactly the same moment, so you only... If you're a robot, you get both of them. If you set a program, I guess you could probably like basket order in or something like that. But both of them breaking the downward trend. Look for a retracement back into the volume weighted average price as the Nasdaq is about to get highs. One more time here. So if we get to the top on the Nasdaq, which will be about 256.5, if we reject that high and reject VWAP, then I get out at VWAP. It's that simple. I'm going to respect the fact that the Nasdaq's at the high, and NVIDIA, while leading early, is not leading a little bit later. So you kind of take what you can get on that mean reversion trade, and then you're not upset. At least that's the plan of action for sure. So again, just waiting for it patiently to give me an entry setup. That way I know where I'm in, I know where I'm out, I know where I'm targeting when the futures hit the high, and if the breakout the highs, then I want to hold it into 185 there for NVDA. Oh, and by the way, if you're looking at some other chips, they all did the same thing. Like AMD, boom, there's a trend break on AMD. It also made a power move. And, I mean, obviously, we're already really strong on Intel. But go back over to Broadcom as well. Like Broadcom caught a bid. This was one of the weakest chip names. So that also catching a bit of a bid, heading higher. So the chips dipped and are now looking rather strong as the market gets back into the high of the day. And for everyone out there, Martin in the chat and some of the small cap traders, that SMX stock that just halted. The tap is down. Halting at the highs, it's actually indicating an open lower initially. So if you're in this one, up 52%, 59.5 is a halt, but it's indicating, now it's indicating flat. So it was indicating 58, now 59.5. As small cappers going, you got the market going, but we're at those highs. Got to see us bust through because NVIDIA is at VWAP, and we're kind of rejecting this top for now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a different market for different stocks. Like, I just cannot believe what Apple's doing right now. It's an absolute monster. Like, I've probably sold Apple a couple times in my life, but I don't know if we'll be doing it again. This name just absolute rocking. You know, the reason why these big tech names continue to work out is you're going to have an earnings season. We just had a great earnings season. You're going to have another one probably. And then they just keep on buying these big names up because we're in this interest rate cut environment right now. 87% chance right there that we get that interest rate cut in just 6 trading days or whatever it is, December the 10th. So, you know, we're getting closer and less than that. We're getting closer closer and closer to, again, another rate cut, a Fed that has our back, a new Fed chair that's going to be appointed by the stock market president. So that's great. You have earnings, like I said, that beat or met expectations on the S&P 500. And there we go, man. Trump's making visits to Beijing. Trump's back and forth, making deals. We get some big-time stocks making big-time moves. And then now, today, you get the biggest and the baddest just carrying it as well, up 2.5%. Two of the biggest names involved in all the hedge funds are just an absolute monster today in all the ETFs. It's Apple, it's NVIDIA leading the way higher. You want to be short those names? I think not. All right, what's up, Crons, right there? That blip a little while ago was Jordan Belfort shorting the market. Yeah, I'm sure as his forehead hit the keyboard. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Shout out to you guys there. Thanks for that comment. Great little $5. And yeah,
got quite the forehead.
That was a good little blip there for sure in the market. But you know, all we did was take advantage of that. And I think that what you want to do is go over to stocks. And you know, this has come back, but look where it went up to, right up to VWAP. Go back over to stocks that you think have this opportunity to do this. So when you catch them, boom goes a dynamite right there. So I would just say play momentum. And I think I've showed the worth today. Like this was a great trade early on a small cap, then a monster trade on Tesla to start the day on the sticky note, and then found a name that was so strong today in Apple, and then really nuked that one to the upside right there. So Tesla's still going to be my P&L number one, but it's now a battle between Apple and Tesla, of course, as we continue to watch that. And I just went into my account and I forgot to do it because it came back over here, but I will be selling some Intel today. And it's just, let's raise some more cash. If, you know, just at these levels, Intel right now breaking out. I'm going to do it. We're hella long down there, sub 20 bucks. And I think that was an easy trade to get long down there, but it also looks like an easy trade to get out. So I'm going to just make the easy trades, man. That's what I do here on the show, and it's been working out. So Intel for me is a good out. Hey, man, we're 450 in the money now on these two trades. So so far, so good. The only one that we weren't able to get into was Open Door there today, and it's kind of a relatively flat trade. You traded Open Door today, so but
we went out
yeah,
a couple times.
Not much going on.
It really didn't move much. I mean, it gave you like 10 cents, like originally for $7 stock's not that bad, but it's still in the same range. So I think waiting for it to do something a little more distinct matters. But so NVIDIA, right when the market came to the highs, it rejected VWAPs. They said, look, I'm going to get out of it. If we're long into the same price area, it shows me resistance, then we'll just jump out of it. You know, like have a reason to get in, but look for a place to get a re-entry point. Now might be above the volume weighted average price. So it's broken the trend. Now I want to see if there's buyers back above 184, and then I can start to work into a long, a third time here on NVIDIA. Like so far, so good, right? Like we're able to get into it sort of cleanly. It doesn't really ever go against us. So I want to make sure, and at this time of day, I don't want to be getting into something where I'm forcing it. I never want to be fighting the market in the middle of the day. I find that can get you into a world of hurt. Palantir, by the way, is already, whoops. I don't know where the S came in there for Palantir. Palantir, at the moment that NVIDIA broke trend, Palantir also broke trend. And this is looking to hold the volume weighted average price as well. So Palantir would be the other name we're looking long for sure. And if I can see it start to do another trend line, like right now you've got, there's your bounce, there's a second bounce. If I can see it start to hold this, then I might go long off of the trend line like we did earlier. So earlier on Palantir, I was like, oh, once I see a trend line forming a little bit late, join the trend line, add on the break, trail out when it breaks trend. I think the same thing for another potential entry on Palantir, just sort of stick to what is working. And speaking of what is working for people, well, okay, fine, it's not working. If you were short, this would be working. Still kind of like, look, Beyond Meat, this was working for people yesterday, I should say. But Beyond Meat did not break this downward trend. So I said this one into VWAP, if it can break the trend line. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm not in it, but unfortunately, if you are in it, it is trending to breaking this bottom. So I'm not touching this unless it busts the trend line for another entry. Try to keep it clean, everybody. And let's go, we got to do money talks with Adara.
Let's talk here about the U.S. dollar, which is at a very interesting level on the chart. There's certainly some support forming around that area just above 99. This served as support going back to mid-November, around November 13th, 14th. Now we're seeing it again as of yesterday, a little bit of a bottoming tail candle on Monday, December 1st to start the month. Today, trading relatively flat, but again, that support on 99 is certainly key, and it's going to be interesting heading into the end of the year. Let's talk about the CME FedWatch tool because we don't really have any economic data to speak of, at least that came out today. This FedWatch tool is still showing overwhelming majority of participants expecting a 25 basis point rate cut coming through on December 10th. That's a week from tomorrow, guys. 87% of participants pricing in that cut, roughly 13% pricing in a hold. And I do want to talk again here about the Fed for just a moment. We have Kevin Hassett, current director of the National Economic Council. He is heavily favored right now to be the new Fed chair. Now, this infographic is also significant because one of these runner-ups here is worth mentioning, Fed's Bowman. She is currently testifying in front of the House Finance Committee. I will be covering that for you guys live here on this show. Then at 11:30 a.m., we actually have President Trump's cabinet meeting. I'll be covering any market-moving events from that as well. So lots of action on watch. And again, Kevin Hassett, a name and a face you should get to know because he could be the new chair of the Federal Reserve. Back to Sean and Neil.
Yo, no, it's all good there, Sharif. I like it.
You could still bet on Hassett and get 18%.
Right there. Or you can just bet on us and get a bunch of winners over up in here. As there goes Apple up 2.7, right now $2.70 we're in the money now on Apple. And there's Tesla, another $2 reload right there. Again, I have no idea why our thing doesn't work there, but I'm sure we'll get that figured out. There it goes. Now the positions are, I think it's every time you take a fill on something, it changes. I don't know why. But today we'll do it. We're going to go what's for lunch now. All right. Today is Tuesday, and yesterday was chicken. I mean, we've had some good chicken dinner winners today, but today's not chicken. Today's actually something that's been pretty good. Yeah, it's close to tacos, but not really. Today it is... Oh, we have a Russian flag here. It is beef stroganoff. So for my guy Joe over there getting really excited with some buttered noodles, grilled vegetables, and chef's choice salad, it's beef strogie, and it's what's for lunch. But guys, I'm introducing something new right here. And I took this from my guy over there. So Joe, shout out to you, I really like it. This is the time when I sit at home and I watch the show, it's often very difficult to figure out. We're in so many positions all the time, you know? So this is something where we could talk about the positions we've been in so far here this morning, review some of the trades. So I don't actually have a button for this called trade review or anything like that. But right now I have this, and I take this from the recap show. Neil, let's go, man, me and you. It is the stock blitz right here. All right. So I think for me, it'll be pretty easy today. I only have 3 names. All right, I'll do mine, then I'll pass it over to Neil. So 3 names for me today. We've got Apple right there. And Apple was pretty good. I mean, what we noticed with Apple, and I think this is good because it's also good for a trade review, I think. Like, let you guys sort of know what maybe what we were thinking at the time or how these all worked out. We don't have to go into too much detail because otherwise we'll be here into 11 o'clock. All right, so there's the dip buy. We waited for VWAP to come through there on Apple. Once it broke, we got out. So we actually went 0 for 1 there early on Apple. Why we focused on Apple was because it had relative strength early. It came back. We know we got stopped out there. We waited for it to try to find a little bit of a bottom, use the 200 period, bang that to the upside. We really, really like Apple right there today. The next trade we had on was Tesla, and this was a marked trade that we had on the sticky note today. We really liked this 429 to 430 level. So it came in early. I don't like to take trades too early, but I did a little bit less volume, less size on that one, and there it goes right back up to the upside. That was a winner before eventually getting out of our last 20% when we broke below 428. All right, and then there's the move here, 429. It came right back in. We banged that there to the upside. That's Tesla. And then I'll throw it to Neil because I'm done. And then this was this, VCIG. They're at 120. Nice move there to the upside into 160. So we'll go 3 for 3 here. And it was a pretty good day. And again, like if I'm 0 for 3, man, I'll tell you. But today, those are the only 3 trades, only 3 names. And I'm going to hold. And we're just going to wait to see where this goes. We're pretty light on all of these, man, especially the Apple trade, as that just kept on going up 1%. So yeah, that's that. So a good day there so far, and we'll look to put some more on. You're getting ready to, Neil's going to update, then you have the midday show here with Sharif and Joe, and I did steal it from them, so I do like that a lot. So there it is. What's up, Majid and everybody else? All right, 50% of stock blitz now done.
Yeah, and look, everyone's going to have a different style. And I told you the other day when I think I was like 4 or 5 or some nonsense. And my best trade was a fail trade because of an opportunity that I missed. So I grade myself a little bit differently. If you're a consistently profitable trader, then the one thing you should always consider is, did you follow your plan? We always talk about the plan of action. So I took my shot on silver, and this will be the red one today. We went long into this prior resistance point, looking for a play into the high. When it broke that support, I got out. I did not re-enter. It's trending down. You can see it trending down. I could try to force it long, but it's just not. This is not a long today. NVIDIA, I wanted long. Ideally, we would have got a chance to go long off the prior day high. That never happened. It just immediately broke out. So I take the first available dip into VWAP. I took the trend break. It's now failing VWAP. So even if I wanted to jump back in on trend, it's failing trend. So just a couple of entries. We like the long on NVIDIA, but it had to set up. And of course, Palantir would be another one. We like Palantir, PLTR. There we go, just telling myself, because sometimes I'll just type over these silly things. Palantir was just like NVIDIA.
That was a good one.
There was no dip into the prior day high, right? So like resistance and support was no good for you. But the first available dip I missed. We were able to catch it on NVIDIA, but not on Palantir. I saw the trend line form. Once it did, 1, 2, 3 bounces, and then I go long. I also added on the break of 75. I got out when it broke the trend line. And I missed this trend long because I was trading NVIDIA at the particular time. And then the last one I'll give you, Opendoor hasn't done much, and I might get back into this. My play was simple on Opendoor, short in front of 730. So it kind of worked, but it's not really following through. So if you were scalp mode, I'm not like super scalp mode in here. I'm never getting it all out into the bottom. So I'm still gonna have half the trade when it stops out there. So ultimately I'll be slightly down on Opendoor. If I scalped it all out inside range, then I'd be up on it. But that was never the plan. I was playing this into $7. So when it goes halfway, I'm half out, not all out. And it still might be a good short, but what I will now do for Opendoor is it's forming a trend into that same resistance. Well, let it just do this for a while. And if it breaks a trend, I can jump back into the short trade on our good friend. The only thing I want to, just jumping into, it's up 8%, and I just saw someone type Intel. Intel was not on anybody's trade list that I'm aware of this morning because there wasn't any kind of a story, but it is now. Like this is, like when this buying eventually averts, I do want to take some kind of a shot at it. And when I pull it up on the 15, like this is gangbusters on the 15 minute, but it has a pretty clean trend on the 15. You close underneath this trend line, and I'd probably look for a short reversion on Intel. But I think this is one you got to be like stupid patient for. Oh, and Raphael says Intel was on your list.
There you go.
Great. I just, you know what, sometimes the stock, when it has a bullish move like this, a consolidative day is not a bad day. Like it just goes sideways off of $40. That's not a bad thing. That's just because it didn't fill the gap, just holds, and it could just be gearing up for the next move. So there's your Apple news, there's your consolidative day. I wasn't really seeing this on Intel, and another monster day for INTC, but I will look for a trend break on the 15, because this is very different from on Friday. Like on Friday, there were pullbacks on a 15-minute. It was consolidating a bit, and then it would reform. This is all parabolic. And if it's all parabolic, the second that buying stops, I want to take a shot at the short.
No, I know. I wasn't on. Neil was on Tilray earlier. I wasn't on there, but that's another one that should be on people's lists, I think, today.
Well, also, yeah, Tilray was another one.
Just because of the movement.
Here, I'll show you Tilray.
Up 13%.
I'll show you Tilray. Yeah, thanks. I forgot that one. No, Tilray was there's the trend break, and there's it breaking trend. And this is what you'll see from me, right? Like I have my entry point, and it breaks the prior bar, I'm out. Like if I'm risking, I think about 15 pennies in here, the move to the low, like you're capturing 40 into that range. So and the way you got to think about it is that's not a 3-for-1. It's 11 o'clock, but I'll just explain from risk to you guys. Because if it goes from 760 down to 720, that 40 cents, that doesn't make it a 3-to-1 trade. Because unless you're holding every single share for down there, if I'm averaging out into here, then I'm essentially getting about halfway. So really you're getting about an average of 20 cents if it goes all the way through and you don't hold any for the big flush. And that way it's like a 1.5 trade. And try to think of that when you're doing your risk reward.
With Apple?
Like understand how much are you actually holding to the next level, because that skews your risk reward. If you get everything out in the first, like small part of the move, then you're not really getting as much of a win relative to how much you would have lost. So we're going to eat some beef stroganoff.
Yeah, just quickly here, Apple, man. Apple right now, $4, and it's still going. Like, I have no idea what's going on with Apple. But, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Neil. We're off now.
I was just going to say, we're going to get some beef stroganoff.
Yeah, it should be good.
And head you on over to the midday. It's Sharif, it's Joe. I know they'll be excited to trade. Right. Joe won't be excited for the food, that's for sure.
Since April.